what? Speaking of bant topics and Troy, I'll be right back. I have a more appropriate shirt for this session.
He's like, I have a beef on wax shirt. I just remembered.
Less chest hair there.
Slip.
It's a pork roll, damn it.
Slip. Psychosis. Do you have any strong feelings on sandwiches that contain roast beef?
I don't like deli meat.
Oh.
If I carved it myself, I would.
Okay.
You know, off actual roast beef, I would like it. But it seems like every time I have deli meat, I get sick.
Ew.
I'm also not a big deli meat person. I pretty much only eat bologna, except if it's like a fancy sandwich.
I was just about to be like, oh, based on what Slip said, I'm like, salted cured meats, like they'll kind of mess up your guts, and then you're like, but bologna.
Yeah.
The anti-lunch meat.
The anti-lunch. It's not even meat.
Yes. Put that Oscar Myers in my veins.
But you'd probably enjoy a beef on wax, Slip, because it's the right way it's supposed to be is like fresh roast beef that was roasted that morning
if
or
it's
the
like
night
that,
before or
I'll
something.
give it a
and,
try.
like kind of thick.
But like I can't do Subway or anything
Yep.
like that where it's just like
Subway blows.
anything that's like lunch meat that's been sitting for any amount of time.
That it's basically a nitrate soup on some bread.
Yeah.
So this wasn't the shirt I was intending to get. I thought I had my Cumstone shirt. Apparently that's at my old place. So I'll have to deal with one of
Damn
those.
it, Dr. Billy.
I know. I'm
But Critical John, it's a good shirt.
close enough.
I forgot I had this. The Roger Cumstone doll.
What?
What the
Limited series.
What the fuck am I looking at?
My wife made
Amazing.
this out of an old Ken doll that she kind of got all the paint
Oh
off,
my gosh.
redid, and put it on this model vest which she found on eBay.
Cool.
That's pretty great.
I also have a one
You should marry that woman,
thing.
that wife of yours.
I'll be right back. I'll show you guys my shirt that I got Joe to sign.
Oh man, we got merch show and tell. Slip, I'm so glad you were like, we need band topics, guys.
Yeah.
We started sandwiches. Now we got GCN merch. I have my hoodie on, and it's Troy was not lying with his little promo to buy a hoodie. It's very comfortable.
Those hoodies are very comfortable.
Yeah, I'm quite pleased. It's hard to find good hoodies, and I don't like the quarter zip or the half zip or the pull it over. I don't mind like the t-shirt ones that you pull over, but I just get too hot.
Yeah.
I like the knit ones if it's like a woven kind of style. I like those in a quarter zip, but yeah, I feel it's so I wasn't around.
You can't say like the artist.
Nice.
I expected
That's cool.
them to start selling that at the fucking live show, so I didn't get it and I forgot about it, and these motherfuckers didn't bring it back. I want that bird shirt.
It wasn't at any of the shows?
I got him to sign it at the Austin show.
Nice. It's a good one.
Did you say
Do
Austin?
you want me to sign your tit? Yes, Joe, I want you to sign my tit. Let me live.
Kyle's going to LA tomorrow.
Oh hell yeah!
Nice.
I have.
So we'll
some
have
show
to
and
look
tell.
for him in like the pre-show video.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
It's a good poster.
The CJ video. I have the.
No, I was saying Kyle's going to the show tomorrow.
Yeah,
in
yeah.
LA.
I'm sorry, I was saying the CJ video at the start where he
yeah,
pants the crowd and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I have the
So much fun.
Anathema Club one that I've been like hacking around
awesome.
running.
And then I love that poster so much. It's a really good design.
The terrifying Strange Aeons one from Gen
yeah.
Con, but
That was really
I used to not be a fan of the art on the posters, but then it really grew on me.
yeah,
I
it's
felt kind
unique
of
for
similarly.
sure.
I think at the beginning, I mean, Angeline style has like developed so much over the course of the last few years. Like, it's just really taken off. I adore the more as I think a year into them, I was like, oh yeah, like these are really like getting there, and they're just so cool. And I was really lucky to get to meet her at the Athenaeum. It was so much
That's
fun.
awesome.
Oh my god.
So
It feels very reminiscent of Hellboy to me, the art style.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's
Yep.
got a very similar kind of style. Yeah.
And I have from the first GCN show I went to, I bought a poster there too, and that was, I don't know, there was a year delta between those shows, I guess, that I just showed the other two pictures or posters for. The art style has changed. I wouldn't say
100%.
drastically, but like you can kind of like see
It's
it.
still that very stylized, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I think I don't know. If there's something I'd have to look at them more. At this point I have almost an entire portfolio that's just GCP posters. Because they don't. I mean, they don't sell many of the leftovers anymore, which I guess is good for them, but sucks for me because I used to have a full.
I got
set.
those off the website because I hate carrying posters around after shows.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. I just haven't been updating all of them last I've seen.
I have a question for Slip. Speaking of like sick GCN gear, is that the Nashville like cheesy backpack thing that they gave us that's on the wall next to
I
that
just like found it and I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know what I want to do with this. My blank spot on the wall.
I like it. It's a shitty backpack, and generally their merch is very high quality.
Yeah.
I like just hanging it. I never thought of that because I ran
this
into
is my
mine the other day.
professional office, but I always use a virtual background,
Oh, yeah,
so there's
me too.
nerd crap all over the walls.
Although I have like a if you know with my fucking emotional support Yeti that I always carry around with a GCN sticker on it, and there's a GCN sticker on my laptop, and I've yet to find anyone cool I work with, but one day. There's 140,000 of us. Someone in there is a GCN fan.
So, I've encountered one like GCP fan in the wild, like in my area, and it turned out to be a guy who just started working like in purchasing. I like walked down the hall, and this is like in 2020, and
It's like
just,
in the
no one
thick of
building.
COVID 2020.
Yeah, like everyone's teleworking. We sent everyone home. There's like 5 people in the building, but like this person just started, so like you can't telework for like 3 months or whatever it is, like whatever it is. So like I'm down talking to the person that runs purchasing, and as I'm walking through their office, I'm just like I just look to the right and I see like the DC show poster.
Oh my gosh,
from
yeah.
2019.
You can't
And I'm
mistake
like-
it for anything else.
Yeah, that's
They're
not
so
subtle.
distinctive.
And I just told her, I was like, I was like, hold on a second, I have to talk to this person for a sec.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
This meeting can wait. Thank you. I need to talk to purchasing.
Yeah.
It was something stupid too, you know. It's like us, you know, in those days we're just trying to get stuff done, and like the phone wasn't working or something, you know.
Sure. That's awesome, dude.
Anyway,
I've yet
Never
to meet
again,
one in the wild. Yeah, I think
Yeah, I've met one person. It's always a fun treat whenever you see a wild Nash member.
A wild Nash appears.
It's a small world.
Yeah.
Visco and her husband like game at the game store in their town that's owned by my sister and brother-in-law.
What?
So,
there you go.
you know,
My voice
they know
cracked in
them.
reaction. That's
They know.
no shit.
Yeah, it's weird.
Oh man, that's so cool.
Like I think her husband's in a group with my brother-in-law.
I love that. And they're so nice, and I imagine your family is too. I stayed with them.
Oh yeah.
Before even meeting at Nashville, Fisco was I don't even remember what if it was Discord or Reddit or whatever. But I was like, I'd like to go to Gen Con one day, but hotels are expensive. I don't know if it's worth it. And she just messaged me, was like, yo, come stay with us in this Airbnb. I was like, okay, hello, kind stranger.
Yeah.
And then like
She's kind of like the Nash mom.
yeah, she is like the Nash mom, and
The cool Nash mom with the rainbow hair. So
they fucking. I'm glad that I've already started recording so that this is we can send this story. But they made an effort. There was a shitload of us staying in like a duplex. I don't know how many people, 10 people, something like that. They fucking picked all of us up from the airport. And I was like,
Crazy.
don't worry about it, bro. Like, I'll fucking get an Uber. Like, I'll see you when I see you. Like, I don't like to, I don't like to be a burden. It's very, like, I'm very self-conscious about it. And they're like, nope, absolutely fucking not. We are picking you up. And yeah, I just, nothing but good things to
just
say about
they're
those two.
they're amazing. They were chauffeuring everybody around, and she wrangled me into the Athenaeum early to help her with
Oh, nice.
seating people.
Yeah,
So I kind of had a free VIP to that one too.
that's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you ever volunteer for merch, it's usually a pretty good deal.
I've yet to do that. We helped out a little bit, but it was all the fucking Pathfinder shit that I had to be doing at Gen Con that just
Yeah.
I didn't I was a newbie
I've
to
thought
Gen
about
Con.
GMing at Gen Con, but it just seems like it would kill the time I had free to enjoy it. Like,
That is
I'd be so tired.
Very well put. Like, I enjoyed it, but the problem was I got like VIP to both shows, and we're staying together. Met all of you in Nashville prior to that, and like I'm stoked to hang out with my friends. But it was like, oh, your GM slot ends at 6, and Anathemum show starts at 6:30 or whatever it was. And I was like, fuck me. Like, I haven't eaten anything. Like, I'm sweaty. Like, I got to change out of my Paizo shirt. All this shit. So, yeah, I think you got the right idea, Slip. Like, I'm thinking, like, for next year, I would maybe sign up to run non-Pathfinder games. As much as I enjoyed the experience of, like, being in the Paizo milieu and, like, running the special and all that, which we could talk about that offline. But that was cool. But I was like, I'm not sure I need to do this again.
It's not the cost of the con that really ends up killing you financially anyway.
It was the hotels, like when I was planning
it's the housing.
And I go on a lot of just like fun trips. Like I'm going to Old Orchard Beach in Maine this weekend. I'm going to Chicago the weekend after just to meet up with friends and hang out and like do stuff. And then when I'm like, Indianapolis, how expensive can a hotel really be? $200? I'm like, oh, I could sleep in a broom closet for $700.
Yeah. I have a sister that lives in Indy, but I've thought about buying a house just for the free Gen Con place
Honestly,
to stay.
like,
and then Airbnb it the rest of the time.
Yeah.
Fucking A. Airbnb it to other nerds. Like, I'd rather give you money than whatever random person we rented from.
We got very lucky that we found something that was like 10, 15-ish minutes like out of town, and like we just drove in each day. But like, we realized why we got such a good deal is that we got there and the house next door was completely burned down. It was fine, but it was not great. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's that's interesting.
That's character.
Ended up being fine.
No rats came in the middle of the night and like.
Honestly, I'd welcome the rats. Love me a rat.
Oh yeah, you're a vet. You're like, oh yeah, rats. I know.
And I'm a rat enthusiast. Like a lot of vets don't like rats because they're they're cowards. But like I love me a rat. I had a friend who had rats. I've worked with rats, and I don't know, they're just cool animals. They're smart. That's
awesome. I was talking to somebody the other day, and I don't remember the context, but their partner, was my tattoo artist. He had all these like cool designs on his wall. Like he'll put designs on his wall that he won't do for other clients, but it's like cool shit that he's done. So like you can't go be like, I want that. And he's like, no, you made it for somebody. Anyway,
that's custom.
Rat in a hoodie, but like a D&D kind of rogue looking Johnsky. Like it had some fantasy aspects. And he starts telling me about this person and her career. Like she went to veterinary school. She works for a biotech company in Massachusetts, and her job is to keep the rats healthy and safe. And humane and all that stuff. And so like she had all this rat stuff, and it was super cool.
That is cool.
That's sick. Yeah.
I wonder if Kate has a GCN tattoo somewhere.
I wonder.
I'm gonna ask her next time I see her.
Yeah.
That's my Kate
I wonder if she would
question.
want to give Troy the satisfaction.
Right?
Oh, that's true, right?
Be like,
I think
it's like putting Troy as a tramp stamp.
That's where,
in his mind, right? In his mind.
She's like,
I wouldn't like. I think it would be surprising if like she and Sydney got something that was maybe, I don't know. It'd be funny. I wonder.
I could see a just to not give Troy the pleasure of like it looks like a GCN logo, but there's no like ring around it. And it's like just slightly different, like perspective. Like it's just different enough that GCN couldn't claim it.
Yeah.
Maybe she has Action Kate, because then
that'd be great. Yeah. That would be great. It's funny. A friend of mine who I went to Gen Con with, who is now going with. I guess technically I do know another Nation member, but I got him into it, so I don't think it counts. Max is he keeps goading me into like getting trying to get the GCN guys to sign Critical Role merch, because I'm also a fan of Critical Role. And, like I have artwork of it. And I showed him one, and he was like, "Oh, you're gonna get the boys to sign that?" I'm like, "What the fuck do you think?" He's like, "Nah, it'd be funny." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know it'd be funny. I'm not gonna do it."
I encourage that behavior personally.
I think
it'd be funny to see what they would sign.
You know what? That's a good listener mail question.
If a fan brought you a piece of Critical Role merch to sign, what would you
do?
All right, Billy, send that in.
No, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
I'll fucking send it.
Oh, I'll do it.
You can do it. I want them to still like me. I don't want to get shit talked on the pod anymore. Only positive things.
Only the bird. Only the bird should be the one shit talking.
Yeah, exactly. Only the birds.
But when shit like that happens, it's memorable, right?
That is true. That is true.
It's like going on an adventure. You got to have a little adversity along the way.
I could, or
hear me out.
Or hear me out. Nah.
I could not do that.
I'll see what they think because I'm gonna try to see them next week at Comic-Con because they were gonna do
hell yeah,
another Marvel show. Hopefully.
Where
Nick
is that
there,
shit?
I don't know.
That's in New York City, right?
In New York, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
The good old Javits. Yeah. The 4 days where I will be unreachable, unmedicated,
you added
not
unmedicated,
sleeping, not eating. No, it's gonna be New York Comic Con is the best worst 4 days of my life because.
What 4 days is it?
It's next Thursday through Sunday, and like I'm doing way too much. I'm seeing way too many people. I am, But the thing is, now it's gonna actually be even better because of my condition, I never realized I could get this, was ADA accommodations. So I can just walk to the front of like most autographing lines. Not all of them, but like a good number of them, which means, hell yeah, I have more time to do other shit. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to hopefully. What sucks is there's a signing that I do want to go to that like starts sort of in the middle of the Marvel show. So like I'm gonna see what I want to do, but like we'll see. I want to see the Marvel show, but like. I'll get it eventually. If I show up halfway through, I'm not bothered. I'll throw something at Joe on the way out.
I had to leave.
I'm gonna be there as of like the Thursday of that week.
Oh, so
too late for Comic-Con.
Ah, damn.
Fucking New York. That's where my wife is. Well, I think she's finally coming home now, but been for the last few days. New York is, man, it's so extra.
Yeah,
it
really is.
People who live there, like, including our favorite podcast, crew. It's a real commitment to a lifestyle to make that work.
Yeah, it is not. It's not. My sister lives in New York, and I don't know how she does it. She's the perfect kind of person for that. She's just
there's like New York people, like,
but
people that are just awesome at it.
I can't keep up.
No,
I cannot keep up.
I lived in the first year and a half that we moved to Massachusetts. We lived in Cambridge, but Boston's a fucking small city. Like, it is. Yeah. It does not compare to New York.
I was surprised when I went there.
Yeah.
Boston is so much.
It's tiny, and it still feels like a fucking big. Like it has big city problems, like traffic. Like it takes half an hour to go 4 miles to the airport, or 45 minutes, or whatever. Like all of that milieu that you get from that environment. But I applaud people who make a success of life in that specific city. I grew up. I'm Canadian, as you probably guessed, from this detailed lore. But I didn't grow up in Canada. I grew up in the Bahamas and in New Jersey, and so like my old man commuted to New York. I was in New Jersey from like age 6 to 18, and then I moved back to Canada to Calgary, and went to the city a lot as a kid. And I thought like, I was a city kid. Like I thought like this is like the way I'm wired. You know what I mean? And there's a handful of people I wouldn't say keep in touch with, but we see each other once in a while that I went to high school with, and they've all made very successful. Like they're not junkies. They're not fucking finance douchebags. Like they've made nice lives for themselves in New York, and I'm just like, there's no fucking chance. Like I would never fucking do this. Yeah, I have neither the fortitude nor the self-control, I think, for a city like that.
Yeah, I feel that. It's just too loud. It's too busy.
It doesn't stop.
I need my space.
It doesn't stop.
I need my quiet.
I lived for
forces.
I lived part-time in Vancouver, Montreal, Toronto and Calgary. Like Calgary was my residence, but I split my time between those 4 cities for about a year. And Toronto's like that too, but it doesn't have New York shit. Like Toronto's pretty cool, but it has New York problems at scale without like the New York part. Like I'm gonna end this story quickly and then we'll actually play our fucking game tonight. But like one of my buddies that I was talking about, like that still lives in New York, I was there I was there for some concerts, so I was just a tourist, and I'm like, yeah, you want to meet up, grab a beer, whatever. And so we grabbed a beer, and then the next night I was just hanging out, doing my things, finding dive bars, making friends. And I get this text from him. He's like, he sends me an address. He's like, you need to get here now. And in my head, when somebody sends me something like that, I'm like, my friend is in trouble. And
there are guns involved.
For some reason, me being here is the solution to whatever kind of fucking trouble he's in. It can't be good that he's not calling his like day-to-day friends. You know what I mean? Anyway, long story short, I go to this fucking down to this dirty basement somewhere in Brooklyn. And he's just like slapping me. And he's like, you won't believe what's about to go down. Literally had enough time to get a drink. Had no idea what was going on. Prince came onto the stage with like a 4-piece band in this tiny, tiny club. Like I would say Anathema size is probably without the upper part maybe. Anyway, and I was just like, this is the only city that this would ever fucking happen in. I'd never seen Prince before. Not like a big fan of Prince's music, but I don't deny the talent. But I love live music, so just like seeing that in that environment, and I was just like, this is the coolest city on the planet that I never want to live in.
Right. Yeah, it's like there's always something happening,
yeah.
And that's like the best thing about it. But also, there's never a break.
Yeah, and beers and Heinens are like $28.
All right.
What do you guys think about playing some games?
Let's do it.
I can game.
You can game. All right.
I'm down.
Awesome. So I think that I forgot to put this in the what to expect for tonight, but I did go through the entire chat log. Most of you already marked on your sheets skill checks that you failed. We'll do it by the rules, as we already talked about for this week. So basically, you can re-roll those skill checks if you roll over. If you see that check mark on your sheets, if you roll over, roll a d3 and add that amount. If you roll under, there's no negative consequence.
All right.
Megan, I think I had yours in there as well. Let me just double check.
I had alertness marked, and I succeeded, so I didn't get better at it.
Damn.
It's too alert.
I didn't have anything else marked.
This place is weird.
Does the apply skill improvements button take care of that?
I don't know.
I'm going to hit it and see what happens.
All right. Because if that whole thing is automated, I definitely didn't write it, but that's amazing.
Never mind. That just gives you like a straight increase, like 1d4 or whatever.
Oh,
so,
I see.
Yeah,
Got it.
So.
All right, 2 successes as you try to level this shit up, and a failure on a 70.
Yeah.
An
On alertness on your
84
70?
over 70.
I failed it like 2 sessions ago.
Yep, you sure did. And
So remember how often I failed last time. Let's see if it's gonna do what I need it to.
Jackson Shaw has a lot of skills to roll.
Of fucking course not. Of fucking course not. Of course. All right, let's go for human. Come on, can we get a human? Okay. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right. Let me do a D4 roll or is it a D3? I forget which one.
D3.
D4, I think. Oh,
I'll do a.
And if I'm wrong, we'll wreck on it for next week. I'm 98% sure it's a D3.
Yeah.
It's 2%.
D3.
2% chance of me failing.
I'm just gonna do 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on a D6.
Oh, you can so like
What?
at the bottom of the
Okay,
chat there's like a D4, a D6 and so on. If you
Yeah.
just manually change, let's say the D4 to a D3, it changes the die and it'll do it all for you.
Where do I? Like,
So
should I
if you click on
click
one
the
of those
D4? Oh,
those
and then-
die
oh,
icons
so
and
I
then
did
just
this.
manually change it. Yeah.
Oh, well, good thing I rolled the same thing twice. All right, cool.
Look at all those twos.
Yeah, that's a lot of two. That's a suspicious amount of
Don't
twos.
love this distribution. I do have
Persuade.
dice stats tracking turned on in this
go.
server.
Another fail.
Nice.
Good.
Let's go. We love failure in this house. Another fucking 2.
The man is consistent.
What can I say? And then I think that does it. Nice. Cool.
All right.
Moving on up in the world.
Awesome. I am also going to roll a d3. But before I hand off to the player I rolled for, which will be Mason, aka Agent Dupuis, for your take on things, you know, kind of a... You can make it as detailed or as simple bullet points as you want. I originally was thinking about this because Slip wasn't here last week and was playing this week, and maybe you wouldn't have had a chance to listen to the recording. I know you did. But I am still extremely curious about how your agents are perceiving everything. However, before that happens, we're gonna move our camera back to the refinery and sort of where we started the last session. And you see Benny. If you remember, Benny saw something out of the corner of his eye. Jackson was moving towards the tank that was overpressuring, while Agent Rutherford was reading out of the ERP manual about what to do in an emergency like that. But Benny saw something moving, and he followed his instincts. And our camera goes over his shoulder, and you see this like broken piping, and there's like a valve on the floor. There's rags, there's blood. Clearly something blew apart in here, or the wind blew in, and that's a lot of wind. A tornado touched down and twisted some metal apart. And he sees this hand reach out to him. And the moment that he's like pushing the piping aside, it sort of shoots out. Like, its speed is not what you would expect to be seeing in a scene like this from something dying. And he inhales super deeply as that happens. And in the background, he can hear Agent Rutherford screaming about the Scott Pack and reading from that ERP manual. How do you stay safe in here? He has not donned his Scott Pack. It's on his back, but he hasn't put the mask on. And the hand reaches out for him, and he feels this like wet, clammy kind of texture as he touches the skin, and it sort of grips onto his forearm like that. It starts dragging him closer to the equipment. You see now the camera is like a point of view, like a GoPro on his forehead, and the world is like blurring for a moment. Like, reality is kind of bending around the edges of his vision. His heart is pounding. You can hear doo-doo, doo-doo, the beat of his heart as adrenaline is kind of surging through him. And as he like thinks about his options, his training takes over. And in one smooth motion, he takes his right hand. I'm assuming he's right-handed because me and Pizza didn't establish that. He's right-handed now. And he withdraws his Kabar fighting knife. So like a traditional sort of like Marine Corps combat knife from its sheath. And he jams it into the forearm of the hand that's holding on to him. And it sort of plunges in, and you just see it explode. Explode is the wrong word. It ooze aggressively, this like amorphous mass of asphaltenes, of burnt tar, of this like slick, oily substance. You can hear like a gurgling, squelching sound as the blade meets it, but the texture's all wrong. It's like gelatinous. It's cold. You would think cold asphaltenes would not be sticky, but you can see it stick to his arm and pulsing, and it's wrapping tighter and tighter around his wrist, and his mind cracks open for just a second. And it's not just his own thoughts. He's now looking through somebody else's eyes. Our camera pans to a moment from the past as you can hear Major Whitetail speaking. Sounds just like him, but younger, speaking to his grandmother. And or a camera zooms in on a house as she's making meals and telling stories about the Eternal Watchers. And Benny, as he's like experiencing this and inhaling all these toxic fumes, it feels like he's like falling through time. Like, did a second go by? Did an hour go by? Did a lifetime just go by? What is happening? And he kind of like shakes his head a little bit to regain his focus, and he sees tornadoes twisting into like spirits with faces, and you can hear the voice of Major Whitetail's grandmother. When the land is desecrated, the Watchers turn away. Darkness takes its place. Eat your soup. And he very, obediently eats his soup. And Benny hears kind of like more of this, I wouldn't say a bedtime story so much as ghost story. But he gets like an understanding out of it. Like, there's something here that's not just an accident. Something's being fed. And his vision snaps back, and he just sort of holds his breath so as not to breathe in any more of these hydrocarbons. The mass is still clinging to him, and his mind is racing. Like, is this real? Is this not? Is this a threat? And his military training takes over. His pulse settles down, and the shape wavers. It's the shape of the this oily substance on his arm. It's almost like it's smoke or like a trick of the light. Like the fumes are playing tricks on his head, and it no longer holds power over him. It's like the leaks infected the operators, he thinks to himself. And he finally dons the Scott pack, takes a deep breath of oxygen as he rolls sanity and takes some sanity damage. And we now find ourselves back on the bus as the agents are getting ready to depart, as you've arrived to Precision Drilling in Nisku. And we turn to a first-person perspective on Agent Dupuis.
Cool. So I think, Agent Dupuis, he was initially sent out by CSIS to basically check and see what the situation was. The Canadian government saw a bunch of foreign nationals coming in to check on the thing that weren't necessarily military personnel. That raised a few red flags. He went to that refinery, and he didn't get the whole rundown of it, but from what he was able to gather from it, there was definitely some foul play afoot. After seeing the surveillance footage, he was pretty safe to assume that there was some domestic terrorism that was occurring there. So, he contacted the RCMP to get them to shut down the area, and then whatever, he came back with the team. He was directed by his handler to follow them to Edmonton to try and get them home safe. At this point in time, he was only supposed to be in Edmonton or in northern Alberta for like maybe a day or two,
Mm-hmm.
and I assume this probably on day 4 or 5, especially after the conversation with Cynthia on the last session. So like he's getting a little bit wary. He's getting a little bit kind of homesick isn't the right term, but definitely, I guess agitated would be kind of the right thing. Like this was not what he was expecting it to be. He was expecting it to be like, just come on in, check to see how the situation is going, report to Ottawa, and then go home.
Quick business trip, and now you're dragged into this nightmare.
Yeah, exactly. And he's been given the direction of make sure these people get home safe, and now they're going to a suburb of Edmonton, and instead of going to the airport. So, he's a little bit on edge. He's a little bit anxious, a little bit frustrated, but at this point in time, it is both getting these people home safe, but also like a form of national security. So like he has two goals here, and by satisfying one, he then satisfies the other. So
he's duty bound.
He kind of sees it that way. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, awesome, fantastic. as previously mentioned, our version of hero points is a plus 20% on a roll. Love that. So just keep that in the back of your head.
Awesome.
You will. You can. We should just make a hard and fast roll for this. You can choose to use it after you roll.
Yeah, cool.
And our camera now pans to one of the other three of you. And I roll for our stoic, handsome, rugged EPA criminal investigation agent, Agent James Rutherford.
Those first three adjectives, I didn't know who was going to be.
Could be anyone in this group. It's a good-looking group.
Could be you. Could be me. He could even be.
Everyone's so attractive.
I mean, all right. So we're rolling from one disaster to the next. It's like disaster here. He's got his family holed up at home. He's worried about them. The storm is much larger than anticipated. He's really hoping that this madness or whatever it is, doesn't spread south. That it's kind of contained up here.
Especially not to Montana, to your ranch.
I mean, seriously, yeah. Well, it's technically his wife's ranch. That family ranch.
He married up.
It was
he
in her
definitely
dowry.
did. Yeah, he was definitely like investigating some sort of like nitrogen level increase in a pond or something, or in a creek, and it came to some like manure from the ranch or whatever, and met her in the course of that investigation. Anyway, so yeah, he's basically just trying to stay calm, trying to not worry so much about how he's getting home, but just focusing on the goal of figuring out what's going on, quarantining this madness, this disease or chemical or whatever effect it is, and just getting out in one piece. I think he's just very he's just focused on survival, I guess, and he does have some empathy, for the larger population, obviously in his work. That's almost a requirement. So that he won't go home until the job is done, but he very much does want to go home, and this is one heck of a last case for him.
2 days to retirement. Dealing with this bullshit. I was gonna get a new plane. I was gonna trade up to a Beechcraft. Okay, awesome, fantastic. Yeah, take that scenario point is what we'll call it.
Sure.
Take that bottle cap, baby. All right, so we're gonna go to another agent. Let's see, we'll roll a D2 for Megan Parks and for Jackson Shaw, who's probably the one agent who's encountered the most sort of strange personal connections to what's been going on. Sleep deprived, immediately came off one mission and went to the other. Megan Parks, our more serious, focused CIA agent, but she's seen some shit too. Made some new friends and witnessed some strange activity. And we go to Jackson Shaw.
Okay. Well, so I guess we'll see what parts he can fill in. He feel like he was taking this not the most calmly, but like at first this was very normal. The storm comes in, like it's a concern. It's a very like strange weather pattern, but okay, storms happen.
Yeah.
But then the discussion turns to supernatural, effects, and Jackson was a little resistant to that, thinking that's a lot of stories, a lot of mumbo jumbo. But doesn't really make sense with reality, and then
They're just trying to
started
scare the
looking
Americans.
something like that. Just like it doesn't make it makes too little sense to make sense. But then we started investigating the connection between Indy and Tony and the um, that symbol that was ordered on pins. Then we get messages of suspected um, uh, what's the term for it, subterfuge or subterfuge,
Like basically terrorism.
sabotage.
Yeah,
sabotage, terrorism.
Yep.
That there may be a rogue group, and he's thinking, okay, well, something's going on here. Like, definitely we're dealing with something that's abnormal. And especially when we get to the power station, find this place in crisis, nearly about to explode. We go down. He and James and I forgot who else was there. Oh, but that's where we met
Agent Dupuy.
our
Yep.
Agent Dupuy. Thank
Alex
you.
in the control room with Megan.
Yep. And we all make it down to the tank where he sees something inside, an undescribable creature of some kind that really rattles him and, nearly, I imagine, nearly causes a catastrophic system failure as he hesitates to release the valve in fear that this thing will come out and, destroy every single one of them.
All you had to do was open the valve, Jackson.
Right.
Listen to Agent Rutherford.
Thankfully, we avoid disaster and we head out, and that's when things just become way too big to write off as anything other than full-on supernatural horror. As this giant crowd of people outside of the ice hockey arena are being systematically infected by poisoned blood, people, or infected blood of people wearing this symbol, one of which tries to attack Jackson, but he's able to subdue him and get a sample of this stuff. They get into the arena, talk to one of the head doctors there leading the coordination efforts, trying to help get a handle on this before I realize that we have to get going, because what is being told to us is the most important thing is for us to get out and get help and make sure we make it back safe, at which point hopefully we can, the plan would be in his eyes to figure out how to get some more people on this and mount a full-scale coordinated effort, containment effort, because this is quickly spiraling out of control. He then, I can't remember at what point in the session he did this, but everyone started calling their family members, and so he called his wife in turn, and she reveals that she was having strange dreams, one of which being she cheated on him, and at which point he tried not to have a breakdown of just what the fuck is going on here. This is expanding even beyond the physical into something
Your
connecting
family.
him, his wife, and everybody
Absolutely.
else. So he's starting to feel a little antsy, a little jittery. And then when we pull up and see this veritable army of cultists, I mean, the first thing he's thinking of is, well, we are right and truly fucked. And that's sort of where, he's just looking at this, I feel like the entire time he's been trying to maintain some level of, reasonability, rational response,
Mhm.
Identify, adapt, overcome.
You're trained
But
for
when
this.
he sees
Yeah.
just this, massive people leading some kind of occult ritual at the end of the line after everything we've experienced today, he's just at a loss. He's just finally come up against this wall that he is gonna try, but he's struggling to think his way around.
Fucking amazing. Yeah, I mean, a hero point or whatever, session point for sure.
Thank you.
And we now pan back to Megan, and Megan helped navigate the bus from Lloydminster to Edmonton. Was a calming voice of reason for Alex in the refinery. What's going
She
through
was
her head?
guarding that prisoner, that crazy guy that attacked you guys with
Yep.
the bloody syringe,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
Well, I think as we're traveling, we flash back to that while she's just kind of guarding this guy who's on the ground, his hands ziplocked behind his back with zip ties and
Ziplocked and zip tied. You got to keep those hands dry in a
yeah,
rainstorm.
ziplock over the head.
You like that, motherfucker?
That's what we CIA people do.
Oh, boy.
Your training also takes over.
Right. No, he's just
Super
there and
waterboarding.
he's, I don't know, maybe babbling incoherently, kind of semi-consciously. And she is disturbed, but also bored, standing here looking at thinking what is everybody else doing. So she kind of pulls out her phone and she sees that she's got a message. And she opens the messaging app, and it's from her nephew Noah. And it says, "What do you get when you cross an elephant and a fish? Swimming trunks!" And then an exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark.
Oh my god. Is that one of your
And she
bonds?
start-
He is one of your bonds. Oh my god.
Yes. She starts giggling and kind of looking down at the guy on the floor. She kind of frowns, but then she turns her back to the guy on the ground, but she looks over her shoulder at him. And she thinks for a second. She kind of taps her chin and she says, "Okay, so this new joke, it's a new kind. It's a joke poem. It's called a limerick." And she says, looking down again over her shoulder at the guy, There was a young man in Alberta," she types, "with a terrible love of yogurta. He headed to town, all the yogurt to down. Now he's got Yoplait all over his shirt." She clicks send.
Oh man,
That's good.
Oh, that's awesome.
that's great.
And you see like the dots, like he's typing back to you, and sends you like, I don't know, 10, whatever a 4-year-old or however old he is, 10-year-old would send back of emojis.
Yeah, he's
I don't know what the kids use these days.
Yeah, ha ha ha. Just with all sorts of crazy things, and then like 12 gifs.
It's just like Ohio Skibidi
roll-
toilet,
Yeah.
etc.
That's
then
so
she-
Sigma, Aunt Megan.
She goes and looks back over this guy who's got like maybe blood from the tussle all over his shirt, but
Oh, yeah.
not yolk.
not Yoplait.
She texts her sister, who's his Noah's mom, and texts, "So everything good? Noah sent me a joke," and her sister's name is Candace.
All right, so you see the same like response happening within the chat, and it stops. It comes back, and you get kind of a stream of text, and she's just like, "He's been having a week. He got on the baseball team, t-ball team, but he's so proud of himself. We made him a little uniform, and then there's like pictures of this cute kid playing t-ball, and his sister, your niece, is in the background, just like, fuck yeah, buddy." Maybe she doesn't say fuck. Maybe she does. I don't know.
She would be younger than him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even better.
Fuck yeah, buddy. I don't know how to say it. So,
What a way.
Candace, Candace in the background, and it's just so fucking wholesome. Like,
Yeah, she looks at it all, and she almost kind of tears up at it, but she instead reaches down into her pocket and pulls out a Xanax and cuts it in half in her fingers and then downs it.
Those pictures are quite the juxtaposition from what you're in front of, and of course she asks if you're okay.
Yeah, and she says, I'm good. Just take care of our boy." And Rachel too. And then she kind of flips again. looking through her photo album, and you come to this picture of Noah when he was like newborn, like red face, that white stuff still all over him, wrapped in a one of those striped baby blankets.
Little alien
They
baby.
have at the hospital. Yeah. And she kind of hovers over it, and then she goes back to her sister and kind of types, "You're such a good mom," period, and then press send.
Oh my god. Oh, you guys give me so much to work with all this human flavor. And you get a couple seconds go by. I love this. And you see she's got the two kids and the phone, like, making a selfie, like her and the two kids. And I rolled a 3 on my luck roll, and she's like, "Will we see you for Noah's birthday on Saturday?"
What day is it today?
Tuesday.
She says, "Oh, I should be. I mean, I don't see this dragging on that long. Don't worry.
She sends you a heart.
There's a storm out here that might delay travel, but..."
She sends you a heart emoji. She's like, "I know you can't tell me where you are, but wherever you are, I hope you're safe. Can't wait to see you." EXO,
Yeah.
What's your sister's name? She's not a Bond.
Candace.
Candace. Sister.
She is a Bond.
I thought that was the daughter because I misread your character sheet during this role play, so...
No problem.
She's got 2 kids.
I mean, her sister has 2 kids. Yeah.
Guess what?
Noah, she's really close to.
You have an extra Bond because of my mistake. All right. Well, she named her kid after her, Candace, apparently.
Yeah, there's Candace and Candy.
Oh, love it. Niece. All right. Awesome. Yeah, what else do you do?
She pulls out a vape.
Yeah,
Vapes.
cool.
Text
Rips
him.
a fat fucking cloud.
I think maybe she kind of like kneels down and tries to talk to this guy for a while. I don't know if he had anything reasonable to say or if he was just completely unintelligible.
Yeah, sure. You interrogate him, and clearly he's, you have the upper hand, and you have a 70 humint. So you can roll if you want, but you don't need to. You can roll for flavor.
Okay, just to see if I fail.
Yeah. See how much of a dickhead he is.
Should be in alphabetical order. See my persuade.
You have a 70 human.
I don't know why I wasn't.
Oh, that's
seeing
fair.
it. There we go. Oh,
73
so I can
over
mark
70. All right. This guy is being antagonistic towards you. He's spitting on the ground. And he's just like
calling me a broad.
Oh yeah, he's sexist too. He's a real.
That's like the
a real piece
nice
of shit.
way to say what he's saying.
He's a real piece of shit. I was gonna say he was just like doesn't like cops or people in government positions, but you went there, so yeah, he's also sexist. Seems like an irredeemable human being who is trying to stab people, and also Megan. With your 70 humint, regardless of the role, you know that he was basically, when he was trying to stab and attack with that syringe that said basically HIV positive blood on it, that wasn't what was in there from a physical standpoint, but like as some jackass like this would do and take advantage of chaos that is clearly happening around you, took advantage of like old... early 80s like homophobic tropes and basically like trying to sow seeds of contention by specifically calling on that reference.
Yeah, and she's just like, "You are such a fucked up jackass on so many levels."
So
and she maybe puts her earbuds in his ears and makes him listen to the worst music she can. I don't know. I guess that's on the Christian music channel. I don't know, but maybe you like it.
An actual play podcast of Noah's Ark.
Oh boy.
Hosted by the
Raph said, "I don't want to go on the boat."
At least 1,000 Foot Crutch rocks. Like, they're good at their shit, even despite it all.
And is that like a real podcast?
What was that?
Is that a real podcast based on Noah's Ark?
Noah's Ark?
I completely missed.
No.
I'm sorry.
I was just
went over my
saying,
head.
at least 1,000 Foot Crutch, despite being a very Christian rock band, actually makes
that
good
was
music.
actually not
They do.
a comment about Christianity, just against just about Christian rock.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you. Have you
Which
seen
I've
the
been
one of?
subjected
I don't
to.
want to lose sponsors.
Yeah, we can't lose our sponsor High Noon over disagreeing with their Christian views.
We gotta get that skillet money.
No. It's just the music. It's just the music I have a problem with.
I'm not religious, but when I look at John Cooper's arms, I think the only difference between me and him is the belief in our Lord Almighty Jesus Christ. Amen.
The Lord got swole for our sins.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's it. I mean, I think we go back, and now she's like thinking about her nephew and stuff. As we look down this bizarre side of the people.
And your fellow agents go in and out of the Rogers Center. Probably 45 minutes goes by. Agent Dupuis, while you were all together, he phones a local RCMP detachment, as you heard. And as you and Benny kind of just like subdue this perp. And they go in, they come out. And as they come out, the local detachment is there, kind of taking this prisoner away. You get onto the bus, you get down to Nisku, and there's one agent left. Unfortunately, Kyle can't be here this evening, but our camera goes inside the bus, and you pull up to precision drilling. This is what you are all perceiving now. And let's go to the right DM, and not the one from Benny. Sorry, I just broke immersion. You see Alex kind of sitting in the bus, and he's playing on his Nintendo DS. He's kind of like flickering between his focus between the DS and then this like crazy laptop that he's built for himself. That's on like you're in a bus, so a pretty small little tray table or something in front of him. And he's kind of like distracted from the game, but we kind of go into his head, and you can see things through his perspective, and he's just trying to clear his head, think straight. His eyes keep going back to that screen of the laptop. And the code, I just read your DM slip, and yeah, we can work with that. That's awesome. And I broke immersion again. And I need video editing software. Anyway, the code that he's working on, it's almost like he's making fun of him. And he thinks back a little bit to his original recruitment by the CIA. He's a young guy, right? He's like 22, I think, something like that. He's obviously a savant, but he was sort of flagged by the CIA. And they never really told him what he was reporting on. He was just doing analysis of computer code. You can live in your mom's basement. We're going to pay you a bunch of money. This is what we need you to do. Report back when you find certain things. And he's, for the first time ever, because he sticks close to home, he's untethered. He doesn't have a CIA handler in his ear asking him for a fucking report on a Friday afternoon or whatever. So he's free. There's no net. And you see these strange symbols and patterns generating again and again as he's running different iterations of the code. It's like running through a simulator and outputting ideas. Could be music, could be images, could be documents, could be simplified code of like what is this actually trying to run or accomplish. All these different iterations are coming up with this crazy simulation software that he has. His laptop sounds like a fucking jet engine. There's like 4 GPUs inside of it somehow. He sees these disturbing images, and it looks just like the ones that you saw at the refinery on the screens. Looks just like those patches that you saw. It looks just like the way those bodies were arranged, and it refracts into all these distorted fragments. And everyone, I will stop the music in Foundry. If you've muted the music because like you don't like it or whatever, please turn your levels up in Foundry, because our friend Kyle was cool enough to actually record what he does from here. And he's feeling like this urge, like to follow you, to follow this path of reasoning that he's finally like making sense out of. But you all are stepping off the bus, and let me play what you hear.
Hey guys, listen, whatever's going on out there, I don't know how useful I'll be. I see you guys strapping up, and I just feel like I'll hold you guys back. There's something I can do here, though. I feel like this code is calling to me in a way that I know it means something. I know it's relevant. If you all are gonna go fight the battle the way you know how to, I can do it here. I can do it the way I know how to here. I'm going to stay. And I hope I see you guys on the other side. Please don't die. Sorry, is that too serious? Just don't die.
The music sort of dies down a little bit, which Kyle also composed and recorded himself. S tier player.
Awesome.
Bottle cap.
Don't feel like you have to keep up, because like
Holy shit.
I feel like I'm a good player. I've never composed music. Fucking awesome stuff from Kyle.
That's great. That's awesome.
So you kind of like hear this going through, and as you're starting to disembark from the bus, and I'm going to hand back to the agents in one moment here, as we kind of finalize Alex's camera B-roll, and he sort of says goodbye, waves, cracks his knuckles, slams a monster, and he sits down. And this is it's like a GoPro wide shot or panoramic shot, sorry, of the top of the bus where his bed is and his little desk or whatever that he's made. And you can see his mind like racing, like smashing away on his keyboard. Like it's just I actually hit enter, so Kyle just got gibberish. Anyway, he's smashing away at his keyboard and looking at these symbols that are sort of now becoming sharper, more deliberate now that it's quiet in here. There's a flicker on the screen, and as that flicker sort of dies down, it seems to pulse. And it's not something he would expect from, some kind of simulation. His fingers hesitate for a second, and you see a bead of sweat running down the back of his head, down his neck, more sweat pouring out of his forehead, and he sort of looks up, and you can hear like these like whispers. Looks down at the laptop to see if the laptop is generating it with, again, all this different interpretations of this code. And the symbols are flashing now, like more erratic. They're twisting, they're morphing. You can see now a close-up of the laptop screen. The code turns into like these geometric patterns that don't make sense. Like they don't relate to something in our world. And you can hear now through his ears the whispers growing louder. And the air in the bus is feeling charged, stinks like ozone. There's sparks coming out of all of the various electronics that are around Alex and feeding off some of the same energy that's overtaken his computer. And it sounds like a chant, like, come deeper. You're so close. You've always been part of this. It was always going to be you. He knocked. She answered. I am here. And it picks up its pace. It gets faster and faster, and the symbols start to twist. And they form shapes on the screen that look like runes. They look like eyes. They look like twisting faces of people dying. There's faces everyone recognizes from the refinery, faces of the dead operators, all of you, the agents he's been traveling with, the trainees he was working with at Cold Lake, the people at the pub that you were hanging out with, the sweet little babushka whose bus you've called home for the last few days, his mom you see coming in this sort of like ASCII-like image generation of code, coming home from a shift, even though Alex, you know, he's picked up by the CIA at a young age. He makes a great living. She doesn't have to worry about money. And the images just revert back to code simulation, like the Matrix, like just the green code dripping down the screen. And it's almost like one last hallucination or breath is exhaled from his model. And he sees an image of a woman. And I forgot to load this in Foundry. I'll pop it up in Discord here in a second. He sees the image of a woman, and it looks all too familiar to Alex. It looks just like Taylor, except Taylor isn't made of skin and bone and muscle and hair. She's made of code, of symbols, of runes, of something dark. And Alex feels like the code is pulling him back to that familiar feeling, why he left you behind in that recording that we played. The burger that he promised to grab with her, the pull of home, that the closer he can get to this answer, the closer he gets to going home. And it starts to slip away. It's almost like the familiar is pushing him towards the unknown as he also rolls sand and suffers a bit of sanity damage as he's trying to comprehend what this reality really is. And we go back to our main camera as our agents depart the bus. And I am going to put Kyle's OG on loop for background music without the voice, because he was nice enough to send me an audio file only. This is the best RPG I've ever played. So just to remind you, there are 10,000-ish cultists at Precision Drilling Nisku. This is a training center. This is not an active drilling rig. However, it's been activated. The ground was pounding,
Right.
It's vibrating.
Megan is looking at the scene, and then she looks back at you guys, and she's like, so either we turn this bus around and get out of Alberta as fast as we can, or we need to gooch our way around this mob and see what's going on in that drilling facility.
And my question is, like, where do they see us? Like, are we far enough away that we don't think that we've drawn attention, or like, just, I can't imagine that many people wouldn't notice the bus approaching.
As the bus stopped, Benny stays on the bus with Alex. I'm just going to do that for this sesh. Because we didn't talk about how his actions would affect what may or may not happen here. As you step off the bus, just one step on the ground. You're still at a pretty good distance to your question, Billy. Most of the cultists have not taken notice of you. However, there are 4 of you who step off the bus. There are 4 cultists who walk up, and each of them grabs you, not aggressively, just like takes you by the arm. And they're hooded. It's dark. It's raining. You feel like warmth coming off their body. Not abnormal, but maybe a little abnormal based on the condition, like the environmental conditions you're in. They're not on fire, but like
I feel a little feverish.
Yeah, maybe a little inflamed.
What's in their hands?
I try to like just gently remove the hand. I can manage on my own.
As Megan does that, Megan, you see a flash of lightning in the sky, and it lights up that cultist's face for like half a second. And as the light washes over this cultist, they take their hood. I have a hood on. So they take their hood off, and just for a split second, it looks like if somehow your nephew had grown up and really followed that T-ball league and got athletic, it looks like Noah at like 23, 24 years old. And the hood goes back and the light fades and it just looks like me. Just looks like some guy.
Yeah. I think she kind of gasped for a second. And then she's going to try to do a hand-to-hand maneuver and just kind of lag behind these guys who are being dragged. And she's going to put her hand over his mouth and try to kick him in the back of his knee so he kind of crumples, and then drag him in a chokehold into the bus.
Oh my god, the answer is, in fact, violence. Let me
It always is.
let me figure out what I didn't prep for. Make a let's do a contested...
Well, you said the others weren't really paying attention, so
Yeah, the others are
She
not
might
paying
be able to
attention.
get away with
They're all looking
Yeah.
forward. We'll get back to that scene in a second. Make a contested strength.
okay. Stats. 37 under 60.
And
Just
let me roll, but I do not have a 60 that I'm rolling against. And I roll 89 over whatever, which is way more. Yeah, so you
All
do.
my Pilates pays off.
You
and
kind
I
of,
drag him into
yeah, you like
the bus.
you take advantage of like that flash of light, right? Like
Mhm.
what- you know, in like a big lightning storm, if you're close to it, like you're fucking blind for a second or two, and you take advantage of that and just whoosh, whoosh, that CIA training takes over, and you drag him back to the bus. The rest of the agents all also have one of these individuals that has placed their hand on your forearms, perhaps on your shoulder, perhaps elsewhere, depending on how you roll.
Yeah. I mean, so their hands are empty, right? Or like
Yeah.
I'm looking for like a needle or something
No,
coming my way here, right?
They have. I mean, the AI gave us torches. Probably these ones have flashlights. That's all they have. That's all they have.
Yeah, I definitely need to get in the
Oh.
back off.
One of them is live streaming from their cell phone. They are holding a cell phone, and the flashlight is on instead of a actual flashlight.
Yeah, I don't think James likes cameras, right?
Probably not a huge fan, given that he lives in the middle of nowhere.
He'll have one hand on his side arm and try to push off and get that stuff out of his face. But I think it's also kind of like, if Megan's drag one to the bus here, I think it's time to start circling up and making a defensive perimeter of some sort.
All right. Let's see. Let's do contested decks. I like that.
Oh man.
What's my dex? Okay, it's that.
What's mine? Oh boy.
59
Oh!
under 60.
Yeah.
It's the best possible outcome outside of a crit. Yeah, that's fucking amazing. So you push this dude back, the one that was like kind of, again, he wasn't being aggressive about it, but he was
but
certainly in your personal space. As the lightning
trying to
flashes
infect me.
that Megan saw, with that 59, you kind of shove him back, and you have a moment of regret because as the light comes down, he looks just like your son Caleb. But as the light darkens, again, he looks like me. He looks like some fucking dude.
Yeah, that's. It can't be.
He looks like Skidmar.
Oh no, not evil Skid.
Not all of these NPCs can look like me, so yes, looks like Skidmar.
Some of them look like Skid.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Megan's done complicated things with dragging that one guy off. I guess I don't want to talk anymore.
Complicated or made them more interesting?
Well, both.
I'm going with the latter. Yeah, how about Agent Dupuis, Agent Shaw? As James sort of like shoves this person off of them, he has his firearm in his hand, if I heard you correctly.
I'm just making sure it's
okay.
one hand
All
on
right.
it down here, making sure it's
so you're
under
getting
control.
you're not being aggressive. You're just it's where you need it to be, and I'll say you're carrying like I forget what your service revolver is, but or a sidearm, not revolver.
40 caliber of some sort.
Okay, so you have like some kind of like very service weapony semi, and it has a flashlight that you could deploy. But Dupuis, Shaw, what are you guys doing?
Well, if I look
with
back
your,
and I see
with your
James,
little cultist
like,
friend next to you.
I would say if James is like pushing him off and and I don't see Megan anywhere, so I guess it's going one way, and he's gonna like just shove his away from him and just sort of like take a step back and try to join James, like hand over his armpit holster, but he's not like pulling it out yet, and like watching, just trying to keep an eye on what James is doing, keep an eye on. Now why don't we maintain our composure? Why don't we maintain our autonomy, and you could take us all to your leader, as it were.
All right, yeah. Roll. What would you like to roll? I was gonna say strength to shove him off, but if you're kind of negotiating,
Could be persuade.
As a persuade,
human,
like
persuade, sure.
Yeah.
Not as good at it, but it seems fitting. Let's rock and roll. Come on. Why did I roll twice? Let's see what the first one is. Okay, the first one
was
success.
better. They were both
The first
great.
one was the
Great
good
job. Actually, the second one was better, but
Damn,
it doesn't matter.
20 still works.
Let's see if he.
Oh,
69.
69.
Nice.
Damn
Best
it.
Possible
Best possible outcome.
Kisses
Fuck.
you.
Oh shit! No, not again.
Jackson.
That's the best possible outcome for him.
Jackson finally rolls well, while I roll really well.
That's the crit of crits.
It's a crit of crits. There is a moment, Jackson, where you don't feel the rain beating down upon you. You feel dry. You feel warm. You feel comfortable. You feel
Weird. I don't like it.
calm amidst the mist
This guy's face
of what's
changes
going
your
on.
wife's face.
Do you want to role play it? Because that's exactly where this is going, Slip. I guess I'm a little too predictable as a GM.
No, I just thought that would be the best.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens.
He turns into his wife.
For a moment, the hood comes down, the lightning cracks across the sky, and you see your beautiful wife, that version of her that you fell in love with, it's not like you don't love her now. It's not like the bond has lessened. It's deepened substantially. But you have the sense of nostalgia of being, you know, a young man courting you. Yeah, that was canon too. Courting your wife. And sort of fades out, darkens a little bit. And you see a young woman, again, early 20s. But instead of your wife's whatever her hair looks like, unless it's what I'm about to describe, it will be something different. She has like a military crew cut.
Does your wife have a military crew cut?
She probably should, but I feel like she's reached officer status. She's allowed to have like she's up there. She's allowed to have.
She's like, you travel too much. I'm growing my hair out. I don't care.
Yeah.
These kids are giving me lice. I'm shaving my head.
And like he comes back down to reality.
Yes.
Like
it again. It's gone as soon as it starts. There's no sand rolls in this. You're just like, whoa. Okay.
You all got the upper hand in numbers. You guys got this messing around in our heads. Just tell us what's going on.
And
tell us what you want.
She still has your hand or your forearm, sorry, in her hand. And she pats it and she's like, you want to meet the master? Of course. Of course. It can just be us, Jackson.
Nope. And can he now try to pull his arm away? He's like, nope. That's not how this. The first part, yes. The second part, no.
And you recall, Jackson, that when you were in the pub, that is what that other woman that you encountered said to you.
Fuck. Just fucking.
It can just be us.
He's just like confused. He's just like too much is happening.
What is happening? All right. And last but not least is Agent Dupuis.
So I'm thinking that I'm probably going to get the cultist that's doing the live streaming, because got the CSIS windbreaker on. It makes sense to be like, oh, look at big old government's doing this. They're being bad.
Yep.
The way I'm in my head canon is that the person who's live streaming is like behind me and like trying to like get my attention. At this point, he's super defensive and his fight or flight comes in, and I'm thinking about doing a judo throw on this individual, due to his hand-to-hand combat training to try and suppress the target. So,
all right,
a little Seiwe Nage judo throw to try and do a little over the shoulder and then kind of restrain them.
All right.
So,
you could do athletics. You could do strength.
Could I do unarmed combat?
Yeah, that works too. Sure.
Cool.
Want to make a French roll with your failure?
Sacre Bleu.
Even your hero point will not save you now,
Yeah, you're
my friend.
Nope.
Oui, baguette.
Too rainy. He's used to the snow, not all this rain bullshit.
All right.
So yeah, I figured like they're getting his attention, and he's like immediately tries to go for the judo throw, and I'm just gonna say like he slips or something like that, and makes an absolute fool out of himself.
All right. So you see as you wrestle this this dude, you see that hood pull back as you kind of start to pin him to the ground. And it looks just like Aaron. The lightning cracks across the sky. You remember rolling D20s with Aaron back in college. And your best friend, Aaron Porter, and he looks up at you like with those big brown eyes of his, and almost pleads with you for a second as once again it goes dark and it looks like Joe O'Brien. Actually, no, it looks like Nick Lowe.
Oh. That's a good looking cultist.
He's a good-looking cultist. He's singing songs to
family
you.
man.
You
right there.
immediately want that cultist to sing.
He's like, "You're gonna fight me." And as all of this is happening, we're gonna pan back to Megan with her prisoner in a second. Jackson is being led to the drilling rig.
Is no one else following Jackson?
I'm
Dude.
in the back.
Oh man. Oh.
Well, no, just
All
because
right.
if no one else is following along, like, he's gonna look back and like everyone's just staying there. Like, he's not gonna go alone. Like he's not that brave.
Well, on one hand, I've got you being drug off, then I've got Agent Dupree like on the ground over here. I'm like, what?
Yeah, if Agent Dupree's on the ground, I'm gonna stop and not go. I mean, unless you tell me, Elias, if it'd be better, we can do this alone. But
You can do whatever you want. It's Delta.
I just
Whatever you want, Billy.
I feel like if
Where is your jetpack?
where's my fucking jetpack?
If only you stole a grenade launcher from Cold Lake.
If nobody else is moving forward, he does not want to go to the center of this cult mob alone. So he's gonna stop moving and just like try to pull away. And just like, all right. Friends, friends? Are we stopping? What are we doing?
I mean, we could if we've got one in the bus, we just jump back in the bus and barricade the door, just pull away and talk to this dude for a minute, like give him the hard interrogation there.
I mean,
It's
if
like,
no one's
grab your
stopping
arm.
us.
Give Agent Dupree a hand, get him off the ground.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like, part of me is thinking like, if we take him into the bus, Dupuis probably going to set up Overwatch, because like, one bus against what is it, 10,000 cultists? Like they're going to overwhelm the bus pretty damn quick.
Yeah, I mean,
pretty shitty odds.
If we do that, it would be like you'd have to get like Benny, like hit the gas, Benny. Like yeah. while we grill this guy.
As soon as anybody steps on the bus, I'm going to be like, somebody take the driver's seat.
Yeah, I thought Benny was keeping it warm for us.
Yeah, Benny is definitely keeping it warm for you. He's
Okay.
He's listening to Sirius XM. We'll let Pizza tell us what channel Benny is listening to, but he's loving it, just chilling, fucking watching the shenanigans, and he's just like, yep,
The same Christian music channel I started to torture that guy with.
yep,
Joy
same
FM.
Christian music channel. It's fucking perfect.
Our God is an awesome God on repeat.
But it's like it's like
more detail.
Techno remix.
late enough at night. It's late enough at night that it's like the more like death metal Christian bands, the ones that are like, we fight demons, blah, like that.
Oh, the Lord.
Anyway, yeah, I would in the bus be just kind of dragging him back a bit and just kind of whispering in his ear, what's going on? And I would release his mouth for a second to grab my K-bar and put it against his neck. She's still convinced they're terrorists, right? So
Yeah, absolutely. You get this guy, whatever, onto the bus, knife to the throat, and it's like, what? I thought you were here to join us like the others. What? Who are you?
what is going on? What are you guys doing?
This is our raison d'etre. As he looks over to
I don't speak
Agent Dupuis.
fucking French.
This is
Say it in Spanish.
our reason. I don't know how to say it in Spanish as your handler.
Say it in English.
This is This is our reason.
English, damn it!
This is our
In
reason
Morse
for
code,
living.
damn
This
it!
is our purpose.
It's the most important.
Who is
reason.
our? Who is
It's
our?
It's their mission statement, for lack of better.
It's our mission statement. We are promoting synergies between cults, and we'll circle back around to this at the end of the meeting. And you're like, this guy is just a consultant. He works for PricewaterhouseCoopers, but somehow has been caught up in this nonsense that's going on here.
What is going on at the factory?
He's like, this
At the
is
refinery.
the culmination of everything that's been going wrong.
Explain
here
to me
for so
like I'm a
long.
robot.
Instructions unclear. This is the culmination of everything that's been going on in this part of the world. The scars we've left in the earth have to heal. And
Okay,
the only
okay,
way
yeah,
that they heal is to
I buy
consume.
into it. But what are you trying to do?
Trying to open the scars so that the scars themselves can consume. Life
So you're
tells
trying
us
to kill people. Let me be clear. You're trying to kill people.
it's for the greater good.
Who decides the greater good? The CIA. That's who.
She does. and
The CIA.
he says, she does. And points towards the ground.
She does. That's right, bitch. And she pulls out her zip ties and starts tying him up.
He's like, I wasn't referring to you, but okay.
She is here. Benny, as soon as the others get on the bus, we're taking off toward the factory.
Oh, I would like you to roll dice about saying she is here. Human, actually persuade makes way more sense.
Okay, persuade.
And
That's
the way that you
43
say
under 75, which is it's my highest roll.
the way that you say it, it might be the rain falling on the bus. It might be the crashes of lightning outside. It might just be the adrenaline in the room. But Megan's voice is like really growly at that one point where she's like, she is here. And he kind of like snaps up to attention. She is here. You are one of us.
That's right. And you better sit down and keep quiet. Leaves him there zip tied and pokes her head out to see what the others are doing.
Well, I'm helping Agent Dupree get off the ground, trying to scoot him back towards the bus. I'm like, motioning Jackson, come on.
Can we actually take a 5-minute?
Yeah, great timing. Put an X in
Okay.
chat when you're back. Let's go to 8:09. Let's say 8:15. 6 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
See you guys there. Like it's primarily a dissociative agent. Like it does knock
So
out
it might
pain.
super freak them out.
Well, when they wake up, they have a really hard time. They don't know where they are. And like when I was working at this one clinic, a lot of the times the clinic will just base their anesthesia protocol on whatever they can get cheapest or like whatever they like to order, what's easiest for them. So this one they just said across the board, every dog that gets a neuter or a surgery, it's going under on ketamine midazolam. And they're like, okay, for the big dogs, like that's really bad because they just like slam into the sides of their kennels when they're waking up. They're just like rolling around. And my job as the unpaid volunteer was to sit in the cage with them and hold their head up. There's a great
You're
picture
their
of me
acid trip
literally like
partner.
sitting
dogs.
like looking. I'm just sitting there like holding their head to make sure they
It's all
don't
good.
hurt
It's all
themselves.
good.
Yeah, seriously, it was a good time.
God. No,
So I don't
That's
recommend
bad.
it.
yeah,
That's
I
bad.
also.
I-
the-
Hey, I've thought about that $1,200 a month model where they send you ketamine at home and you can just
Hey,
use
in a
it for your mental issues.
there's great data out of that for humans. It's actually very interesting.
I would. Well, this is my own experience, my own brain chemicals. The come down from ketamine is not for me.
No?
Prefer things grown in cow shit and a little more natural, but same overall effect.
All right, I won't make you reveal your crimes on record.
Oh, it's no. Wait, I'm hearing a green card. I can't put this part on YouTube.
All right.
We're going
So
with Daily Motion instead.
All right.
where were we?
Yeah, you've interrogated your prisoner. You've sort of assessed the situation as best you can. It seems like people are calling the shots from this drilling rig itself, and the rest are sort of observing, feeding into the energy for sure, just by being here, like any crowd, but not necessarily active participants. And as you found from the eco-terrorist slash cultist slash douchebag that Megan subdued, these are just normal people. PwC consultant, I think I said. These are just people. Seem to be caught up in this.
Like when we I assume are we all going into the bus?
I mean, that's my plan.
Yeah.
Is the
Yeah. Same.
after way things have gone down here, we gotta relocate and
Yeah, if we're able,
reevaluate.
like, if we're able to break away, like Shaw's gonna follow the team back in. And assuming we're all there, like, what happened? Does anyone else chase us in? Like, did they leave us alone?
Yeah, it's like how focused are they on their thing in this rainstorm?
They're not focused. That's a great question. They're not focused on you at all.
Okay.
Like the
Slam that
thousands of
bus
people
door
gathered
close.
here are not. You know, there's other like trucks and buses and cars, etc., that are kind of scattered around, and it just seemed, from what you can tell, like from the others, it's just like, oh, there's more of us here. Great, awesome. Strength in numbers.
All right, and looking over at this, there goes. Looks like there's a leader. The one talking to me called someone the master.
I look down at the guy who's I've got zip tied, and I'm like, mm-hmm. And she, who's me, let's head to the rig, or let's get out of here. It's a vote.
We have to keep each other safe. I understand why you tied me up. I would have done the same in one of my many consulting gigs. For sure. Can bring you to the front. You guys don't even have ropes.
We left him at home.
I see. Americans.
Yeah,
Am I right? He looks over at Agent Dupuy.
And then I look over at the other side. I'm
He
like,
doesn't have a rope.
it didn't think this was
Oh.
going to be a rope kind of.
if someone goes in my suitcase
Rope.
and they open
rope,
up
not
the
rope.
back pocket,
Oh,
and then they
rope,
open up
rope.
the back pocket, you might find some ropes.
Safety scissors as
Gotta
well.
prepare for the rope dungeon.
You never travel unprepared.
So what are we thinking, team? I mean,
I don't know. What's up there? I don't know. I suspect it's guys with bombs.
and if they're gonna cause a mass casualty event, we can't let that happen.
Yeah, I
Look,
think
you guys, you obviously have family. If it's not a time for pride, just
No, but
there's no pressure or judgment for me. Is all I'm saying.
I know, and there ain't nothing I'd rather do than kick on over to that airport, get out as quickly as we can. But
You're very close to the airport. If everyone rolls alertness as Jackson is gathering his thoughts. 69.
hell yeah, hell yeah,
What a roll. 96.
and then a 96.
Ugh.
Oh, 77. That's a critical fail for
D100
Megan.
Distribution. Megan.
No, 37. I
succeeds.
thought it was 77.
There's a lot of dice going on. All right. A few of you, except for Agent Dupuy, he's looking at his phone and like trying to get a signal now. It's all just like bouncing between like 1 and 0 bar, like the X or whatever, bouncing back and forth. And the rest of you hear, knowing that that airspace has been closed because of these storms. There's no way you can get planes in and out of tornadoes and shit like this. But you hear like faintly above the pitter pattering of the rain on the bus, conversations that you're having, you hear faintly the sound of jet engines across the sky. We've all been underneath an airport before. That's what it sounds like. And Nisku PD to Edmonton Airport is like 10 minutes. It's very close.
People are taking off.
In this weather.
Seems
Look,
like
I mean,
seems like things are coming in. But you also like
Oh.
look outside the other side of the bus, and it seems like there's a concentration of weather activity in the space that you're in. And it looks a little, not clear like a nice summer day, but clearer in the areas around where you are.
Just
Would I go ahead?
no, you go ahead.
Would I be able to identify these aircraft, see if they're civilian or military or government?
Yeah, man. Roll some dice about it.
You want to say that's like a bureaucracy
Sure.
or
Whatever you want to roll.
That
Cool.
sounds right to me. Oh,
that is an 8 under 40.
8 under 40. So
This dude goes playing watching.
you're
at
like,
this very
yeah,
time.
you're really clued in. Alex is on the second, like a double-decker bus, right? So he's upstairs, but the roof is like a glass canopy that you can
Okay.
clearly see through, especially with that 8. And your eyes squint a little bit. You see a 737 MAX 8. You see an E390, which is typically what you would fly from Ottawa to Edmonton. You see and feel a reverberation in the air of a couple military planes that are basically escorting them. And just out of the corner of your eye, you see a very strange craft, like something experimental. What was going on at Cold Lake were training exercises, technology demonstrations, new shit that a lot of people haven't seen before. And it seems like this slow, quiet black triangle is just hovering behind all of those other planes. Roll sanity.
Okay. There's a
27 under
2765.
65. You've never seen a plane like this. You never heard about it. You're not read into that level of national security, especially between the Five Eyes.
but you're Canadian.
It looks like if somebody in 1970 saw a stealth bomber. Like that technology
Okay,
existed.
this was-
It's a weird fucking thing to see, but you're like, no, this seems mechanical. It seems legitimate. Why it's in the sky at this moment in time is impossible to tell, but there's streams of aircraft coming in.
Okay. Cool. I'm gonna like relay that to the team. I'll be like, listen, my goal for you is to get you guys back to your country. And listen, I understand we want to be superheroes here, but we're vastly unequipped to handle with this. There's military personnel coming in to Edmonton. We let the professionals do their job, and we do our jobs. And I think, as far as I'm concerned, you lot have done your job, and I've done my job. So I also believe that we should probably head back home.
You think they're just gonna let us leave? If it, look, I thought this all was a bunch of nonsense when we started talking about cults and magic and whatever the hell is going on around here. But if this is look at that, and he's like pointing out to the cultists, like there's God knows how many people out there, and God knows what they're summoning, but this is. If this is not some kind of mumbo jumbo bullshit, then they are going to do something, and God knows what we're going to land to.
I get that, but you might be American, but you're not Clark Kent. You cannot handle this on your own. None of us
Sometimes
none of
I
us
wish
can handle none of us can handle this on our own. It's the professionals are coming in. I mean, you guys are professionals as well, but we don't have the armaments. We do not have the vehicles to handle 10,000 fanatical people.
We don't have to handle 10,000
Right.
fanatical people.
they
We
wanna
just have
take
to
us-
handle the master.
They want to take us up to the master. I don't like that. I don't like going in the center of this nonsense, but I can't just turn my back.
I mean, they're going to be just they have some sort of infectious agent of some sort, chemical, biological. If they're going to be releasing that, you saw what the pandemic did, right?
This is making people crazy.
We gotta put a stop to that. I mean, it's just going to spread, and
Made a lot of sacrifices. Might as well be worth it.
I appreciate that you're trying to do your job.
you sleep at night knowing you could have done more.
Hey, you took the words right out of my mouth. No, I understand that you're trying to do our job, and God knows I don't want to stop you from doing that, but this is bigger than any of us. And if we have even a chance to stop this from getting worse, from more people getting hurt, well, I'm not going to turn tail and run when I have that opportunity. Even if it's just an opportunity. He looks
On
around at the group,
bus
says,
or off
sounds
the
like-
bus.
I go over.
Under his breath, he just like goes typical Americans, and then he gets his MP5 that's in the bus, and he just racks it and loads it, and he says, "Well, if we're going to dance, we're going to dance." Let's go.
That's what I like
All
to
right.
hear.
Stay
There-
with me.
We'll make
I love bacon.
we'll make a Yankee Doodle dandy out of you yet.
Got it. All right, Benny. Take us to the front.
Benny, you hear the air brakes release as Alex is like, "What's happening?" And the bus slowly, not aggressively, like not like, brrr, just
Right.
super like idle speed, goes around the outside of this gathering and lands in this picture like close to the rig. Arrives close to the rig. The air brakes. Door opens, and your prisoner is still subdued, if I remember. He's like, "Yes, we are."
So, what does the master look like? I say, not that I don't know, but
He looks tall. He's thin. He has a great haircut, beard, a little
Yeah.
jerky with his motions, but he's so wise.
Got a name?
And he's so funny. And he paints a he paints a picture for you. As he's describing him, he was a great actor, but he came to
But he came?
save this place. He came to release what was underground. He used to be on a TV show, but he sacrificed his entire
TV
career
show.
for what we need here. And
Ronald
as
Reagan?
you step off the
The
bus, you see a gentleman with a long hoodie on, jeans, work boots, hard hat. Once again, takes the hood off because I'm overusing this trope, and looks up and lifts his hard hat for a moment to kind of point at all of you in a knowing nod, and it looks just like Rob Kirkovich. It's no
Son of a
trick of the
bitch.
light. It's Kirkovich
It's like on
himself.
NCIS.
It's him.
is this the master?
We call him Master K. It used to stand for
So it
ketamine
looks
until
more
he
like
got
a
off that
Rob.
shit.
It,
Now it's
just
just acid
so
and TNT.
Just so we're clear, this is the master they're talking about, who looks like Rob Kirkovich, or is it this guy?
The master looks like Rob Kirkovich. Yes.
Okay.
This guy looks like.
Yo, I'm here,
I'm
I
with you.
say
I
to
forget,
him.
I'm
Skid
with you.
Or something.
I'm with you. Okay, what we need to do is we need to just throw a bunch of Star Wars X-Wings miniatures at him, and he'll try and rescue them from being destroyed on the ground because he knows that they're not getting reprinted.
The sacred text.
The sacred text.
So the agent that they're distributing is coming from the ground itself, and looking at that pump, I'm like, you remember that? I mean, I guess it might be a trope nowadays, but like, like as the ice thaws, like, what's going to get released? Some, old disease or horror spores or whatever. And that's going through James' head. It's like, we gotta stop that pump.
And this is an active drilling rig. Again, this is a training site. It
Yeah.
should not be active. It is pounding into the ground. You heard it last session. Just now that you're this close to it, like your body is vibrating as the ground vibrates. It's
I'll
very visceral when you're close.
I'll
to the
go down
drilling rig.
off the bus and put my arm around Rob Kirkovich, and I'll be like, NCIS, right?
And he's like,
Oh, you're not joking.
he's like, yes, I was on NCIS.
Fucking guts.
So,
I don't
You
know.
wanna show
I
us
don't
where
think
it's
I
all
can keep
going
this up,
down?
but we'll see. Sorry. Go ahead.
you want to show us where it's all going down?
It's like, yes, you two will be joining us. It's great. We're doing great things over here. And he
That's what I was hoping.
gives like a head nod to some junior eco-terrorist interns who all bring you robes, and they're really nice. It's like waxed canvas that repels the rain. They have no markings, adornments, branding, anything. They're very not unlike the fire suits you put on at Synovus Lloyd. They're purpose built for a reason, and they all come and keep their distance a little bit, especially seeing their buddy, and they're like, "You okay, Skid?" And hand everyone a robe. And he's like, "Yes, come join us. We're almost done. It's the penultimate scene, just like."
Yeah, don't start without us. Don't you dare.
Okay. And all of you also see these cultists that are bringing you these robes. Master K on the platform.
Mr. Kirkovich.
I wrote none of this before tonight, and it's hilarious. So you see all this, and you also see like there's four of you still, so 4 people in the background, and they're chanting. One of them has a guitar. One of them has like a djembe, drum. One has a harmonica. The other's sort of leading them. I won't sing for you because I have terrible pitch, but is singing in these different sort of like scales. High to low, to medium, to minor keys, and very ominous, to very like positive. And each one of them looks over at you, and you recognize them as physically very close to the folks who originally tried to interact with you when you got here, including but not limited to your prisoner. Looks just like him. Skid's,
Looks just like our prisoner.
Skid's twin brother or whatever.
I look over at the Canadian guy, and I'm like, how often do people marry their cousins in Canada?
It's just Toronto. That's just from people from Toronto. That's why they have such a big population.
It's just Toronto.
Is-
Clearly the
it's just all that
Appalachia of
inbreeding.
Canada.
Yes. Why else would they be Maple Leafs fans if they had common sense?
So that's years of inbreeding.
So you're from Toronto, she says to the people.
And Master K is like, I'm from Fort St. John.
Fort St. John. Mm-hmm.
I'm hesitant to put these robes
I
on.
just am crazy to see where the bombs are. Can you just take us straight there?
I don't know.
Just
Bombs
looking at
involved
them.
at this point.
You got
That's what she is assuming, though. She thinks this is all crazy eco-terrorism.
Yeah, do you have hang on. Persuade.
Okay. She just has this real casual way about her. Oh, but that's terrible. That's the
96
worst.
over 75.
That's the worst. That's if 69 is the worst, is the best roll.
96 is not great.
96 is the worst.
It's not great. Master K looks over at you. Yes, I will take you there, but you must don your safety gear. I don't know why his voice sounds like that, but that's what it sounds like.
This Ron Gergovich still has braces in
You
this
just-
reality.
Put your
He's
robes on.
Southport. He's South Park Al Gore.
We're summoning Man Bear Pig.
Doper cereal.
Yes, put your
Go.
safety gear on and follow me. You must be initiated.
my
before
respirator
you
out of
can
the backpack.
Contribute to this ritual.
Yeah, we put on I'll put on whatever safety gear I've got around.
Well, he's referring to the robes that you're being handed from the cultists.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, this
I know. I'm completely ignoring
safety
that.
gear.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel so much safer. She says, putting the hood over
Yeah,
her head.
and you put the safety gear on. You don't feel any different. It has no effect.
This is
The only
great.
effect that it has is shielding you from this fucking storm and the rain.
Is this wool? I'm
It's,
allergic to wool.
It's not wool. It's synthetic on the inside.
Yeah, she's looking for a tag.
layer, and then waxed canvas on the outside.
Yeah, she's just it almost seems like she's out of it to the great degree where she feels like she's watching herself in a TV show. Like, this is so nuts. So to the other people, it's like she's cracking all these inappropriate jokes, but she's kind of disassociated just a little bit in order to cope with the danger and the consequences and the stakes.
It was the ketamine.
And also the ketamine that she found
You're like, this looks delicious.
and sampled just about 30 minutes ago.
Like, what doesn't Babushka have on this bus? Turkey dinners for us, ketamine,
She's like, K. What does this K mean?
a fully
Special
stocked
K.
monster fridge for Alex.
No, but like for real, like she's acting really casual and like humorous about this, but whenever she's talking, it feels very tense. Like you can tell it's her way of just dealing with this completely unexpected situation that you can't plan for. You can't train for it. It's just bizarre.
Can't even
Right.
prep as a GM for. One might
So,
say.
just to be clear, just so we're clear, we have driven the bus into this crowd.
Like around the crowd.
Around
to
the
the
crowd.
Not like directly into.
Yeah.
No.
We've
But, like,
trampled
we've
47
driven-
people.
You have made a conscious decision
around
not to commit
towards
murder.
the center, towards like the center of the drill and
Yeah.
like the drilling rig. We found Rob Kirkovich.
Yeah. Mhm.
We've exited the bus.
As guts.
I'm gonna say
yes.
Yeah, as guts, yes. and we are now talking to him like face to face. I'm gonna say that we got the robes. We got these.
Yeah,
these
and they're
robes,
all
he's
like
he's
they're
telling
all
us
very
to-
accepting of you.
He's
They're-
he's calling
they're-
them PPE.
Yeah.
yeah, personal
So-
protective equipment.
Yeah. So, is anyone else putting these on? 'Cause,
Oh, I'm putting
Shaw
them
still
on.
has his rifle out. Are we? Are
So-
we doing as the Romans do?
She
Alright.
says, "Put on your PPE."
So I'll pull my respirator out of the backpack and put that on. I'll throw the robe over my shoulders because I still gotta be able to get my gun, get to my stuff.
Yeah.
You know, make it handy.
Yeah, you don't want to be bogged down by all that canvas.
I'm not taking my hat. My hat stays on.
All right.
I'm putting the robe.
Your
I'm putting the
hat
hood
stays
up.
on top of the robe.
No, I'm not putting the hood up. The hat's keeping the rain off the head.
Oh, wait, is the hood on or not? Because to get a picture of this, is the hood on over the
The hood is not on.
10-gallon hat?
That'd be ridiculous.
Well, I mean, gotta keep that hat safe.
I'll do something similar to Charles. I'll put my robe over my shoulders because I still gotta keep my gun out. Just like James, sorry. I'm thinking of who am I thinking of? There's an actual. Oh no, I'm thinking of. It should be easier to think about Rutherford because it's James, which sounds like Hayes, which reminds me of the president Rutherford B. Hayes.
Oh, it's a deep cut.
There you go.
Wait, you're
Apparently
thinking about Garfield dying in the bathtub?
I
If
might
only-
no.
If
I'm
only
thinking
we
of-
were in a geographical setting where people cared about that.
But I just looked it up. Apparently, there is a Charles Rutherford, a famous Canadian soldier and recipient of the Victoria Cross. Don't know for what, but you know.
I like it. Perhaps there's a
There you
connection.
go.
Perhaps that's why James' ancestors ended up in Montana.
Anyway, okay. Just want to make sure. I just want to make sure I understood where we were and what the.
No,
plan was.
I love the exposition. No need to apologize.
Okay.
I think Guillaume's gonna throw on his safety glasses and put on like a N95 mask because he's treating it as like it's an actual crime scene because it is. And then he's just gonna do a couple Hail Marys and then throw the robe on because he's like, well, I can't be the only one not wearing this. So
Yeah,
might as well.
I'll say, can someone record this? Because it's fucking historic. See if someone can get away with taking their phone out.
Um,
I think Billy's the only not government agent, so I think he's the only one who could do it.
but I got my. Oh, okay. All right. He's gonna
So much
the
weaponry.
rifle, and then
You can do
pull
this.
out his phone. Still have
Don't
it.
you dare post this to your Instagram.
I don't have Instagram. That's okay. But that is a good idea, is to get a record of what's going on.
Agent Shaw is still on MySpace.
Yeah, he still has a MySpace account. He doesn't like remember the password. But
There's
he is
12
not.
friends on his MySpace account.
And when
He's
you go
not
to
interested.
it, when you go to it, Christian death metal.
Damn, you got me. But yeah, so he'll do so if that's everyone's still very wary of what's going on here. But
Everyone, as you don your personal protective equipment, and Master K motions you to follow him. Now that you're protected, you feel it's like a warm hug, from people you care about. Like it's, if you ever put on like clothes from the dryer that are all warm and it's cold,
that's
like
the
crispy
best.
day. Like that nice like hug feeling that you get from it. Like it's super, super pleasant. And probably the first calmness a lot of you have felt in a while. As Master K motions to follow him, as Agent Parks asked where the explosives were, if I remember correctly. Sorry. He leads you down into the bowels of this drilling rig. You see the drill itself, like hammering up and down.
It's still going.
It's still going. It's a lot louder now too because you're a lot closer to it. You go into basically like an open pit. There's metal scaffolding that you're walking around, and you can look down and you see what this thing is excavating. And there's like a bulbous, sort of viscous substance that's creeping up through the casing, through the tubing, and sort of morphing into something. And he's like, "This is where our great work is." But you asked to see the explosives. Let's see.
Gotta get that shit.
What kind of spirit you're made out of. And he opens a cabinet on the wall, takes a key out, unlocks the cabinet, opens the cabinet on the wall. That's full of grenades. Full. Like 100 of them. Those of you with combat experience, you recognize these immediately. They don't look like tampered with or whatever. These look like military issue frag grenades. And
Is he reaching for one?
he reaches for one.
I would slit his throat.
Okay. All right, here we go.
He's reaching for a grenade.
Shall we begin?
Is he by himself, or are there cultists down here with
He led
us?
you down here to read you into what they were doing. Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead and
Let's do it.
I'll say Megan.
That would be
you see this
melee
happening?
weapons?
Yeah, you pull.
I don't know.
Pull a knife out, I assume. Slit his throat.
Nope, that's a miss.
71 over 30. He looks back at you as you try to
So I
stab
lunge
at
at him and
Sorry.
All right, we gotta support the action here, right?
Yes.
He looks back at Megan and like confused. And he's
that's
like,
a fucking grenade, guys.
Yeah,
I see what you mean.
I'll tackle.
But you asked to see the explosives. He pulls the pin and he drops it down towards where the drill is hammering down.
Get that fucking pin!
Wait,
I mean,
he pulled the
too
pin
late.
off. Well, yeah, we should get the fuck out of here.
No, he pulled the pin. He threw it down the hole.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
Into the-
Yeah, it's too late.
where's the nearest door?
Get the fuck out of here.
Run is an action. You can
Yeah.
do that.
run. Megan shouts run.
Yeah, it's run and get behind
ooh.
cover and don't breathe that in or we're all gonna die.
Can I do something real quick? Before we go, can Shaw grab one of the grenades?
Double
yeah.
grenade.
Let's do contested decks
Okay.
as he's grabbing more of them and pulling pins and dropping them down.
Oh, you know what? If he's just doing a bunch of that shit, then I'm out of here. That was gonna be my plan, was to just grab a grenade and toss it at him, and then the entire thing goes up. But if he's
You can
doing
do
it for
that.
me, I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Yeah, I'm not trying to take your autonomy away. You could definitely do that if you want.
Fuck it. Let's
Fuck
have
it.
a little fun. Fuck it. Let's have some fun.
Let's frag out.
Let's outrun this mushroom cloud.
Fuck.
This tall, skinny man reaches out with a thin arm. It's very tall. Grabs
He's pretty tall.
your wrist as you try to grab the grenade and just like shoos your hand away. He's like, "I'll do it. Don't worry." Pulls another one off the shelf, pulls the pin, rips it down
All right.
the shaft.
I pull out my service gun and shoot at him.
Okay.
No, don't fire it in here.
Don't miss.
Don't fucking miss.
I mean-
don't fucking miss.
It's too late.
Yeah.
Do it. Like, I love it when people just
Oh,
do
yeah.
their first
Yeah, man.
impulse.
It's Delta Green.
I
soldier.
yeah, I fail.
All right.
Even using my hero points, I'd fail. So
Yeah. So you pull your sidearm out, take aim, and the air is starting to like distort a lot. As these grenades are going down, hydrocarbons are fucking exploding into the air. Though you have these nice waxed hoodies on, most of you whose name is not James Rutherford, have not put a Scott back on and protected yourself against this. And you just see this like cloud come up, and as the slide comes back, as you take your shot and miss, the ignition explodes within the chamber. And you see Rob Kirkovich turn back to all of you. He's now completely engulfed in flames. It's like, yes. Yes. You see her will. You see what she needs. This is what we all need. Be consumed by this fire, my children. We will.
I would say I'm right there.
Arise.
Am I gonna get it too?
Everyone is going to take 1d4 damage from fire, except for James, who put a Scott back on, who will take 1d2 worth of fire. That's against HP.
Oh.
But they're
Solid.
so unstylish.
Like, these jackets
take two.
suck.
He's never unstylish.
Who's your merch team? These are awful.
He didn't make it to
That was a
what
2.
20-some years.
No, a 2-4.
All right, so you all take that associated amount of damage as like a fireball erupts from this chamber, and you can hear we seek. We
What's that
shelter
coming from?
from the pit.
Like a voice coming from the pit?
Yeah.
Is it loud or quiet?
Quiet.
It just sounds like a person talking.
It sounds no, it doesn't sound like a person. It sounds like a synthesized voice of a person.
Got it.
It seems very artificial.
Mm-hmm.
Do you run?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
yeah,
We gotta get
I'm
the fuck out of here.
Back to the
Yeah.
fucking bus!
Get back to the fucking bus.
I was like, fucking run, go! Get out of here! Let's get out! Let's
That's-
go!
As you run back to the bus, your
Benny!
feet meet the metal stairs and railings of this corrugated metal that you're looking down on. And you can like see back down to the pit, and there's still like a lot of fumes in the air. Again, everyone is affected by it except for Rutherford, and you sort of emerge back out into the rainstorm and breathe in that fresh air, and the storm above you is whipping wildly. You see a tornado starting to form, but
Fuck.
unlike tornadoes that you've seen before, here in Alberta, elsewhere, also on the news, wherever, usually that's a funnel cloud that forms from clouds and comes down. This is the opposite. This is a funnel that's spitting up from the earth and merging into the clouds above the rig. Benny fires up the bus. You see Alex furiously typing away on his laptop. Benny opens the door, wild-eyed, looking at all of you. He's like, he's got a radio in his hand. It's like, they've reopened airspace. We can probably get out of here.
Are we gonna beat that? Pointing at the tornado.
I'll get you out of here,
If we
but
try-
we gotta move fast.
All right.
Benny, step on it. Pedal to the metal.
Benny's, we see like a close-up of the pedals of the bus, and he releases the air brake with his left foot, pushes down on the clutch with the same foot, drops the bus into second gear, and you see his foot go to the boards on the gas pedal. He pops the clutch and skirt drifts the bus around. This double-decker bus drifts it around, and just foot to the boards, starts power shifting out of this area where these people are gathered, and you can see sort of like that tornado that's forming bottom up start to take form, start to amorph into a mass, and it's like striking out at the cultists. This mass, these black winds. Go ahead.
As they're taking off, Megan grabs that prisoner, kind of by the zip tie that she's tied behind his back. She drags him down the middle of the aisle, what would be the middle aisle of a bus, down to the entrance. She grabs the handle, and she looks down at him and says, "This is what you wanted. Don't want you to miss it." She opens the door, and she just kind of tries to push him out, grab him by the zip tie, and just kind of shove him out onto the asphalt.
Yeah, he's he's tied up. He's somewhat incapacitated. You don't have to roll dice about it as you boot fuck him out the door of the bus.
She screams after him, "It's for the greater fucking good!"
Benny drifts the bus, right-hand side, I guess, bus. He drifts the bus and just clips him with the back bumper of the bus. Doesn't kill him, but you can tell, like, it's like getting hit by a car. Like, it sucks. Takes a shot as he tumbles around with his hands tied with those zip ties. And you see, like, a bloody, toothy grin. You were all part of this. As the bus door closes and Benny starts driving.
Yeah, Megan watches him kind of tumble and look at him, as he's mouthing his last words, and shuts the door. Walks back up and kind of just looks at each of you without saying anything.
Yeah, I think James threw his cloak off before he got on the bus, and he's just looking and, like, checking everybody out. It's like, did we get any of that crap on us?
Shaw similarly takes off. He just focused on running to get back to the bus. He takes off his robe once we get back there, and he's just sort of like sitting in one of the chairs, just sort of like, hunched forward, just sort of like looking around, like, I don't think so. I don't think so.
And as you take that robe off, you notice one thing. And like I said, they were kind of generic, nothing bespoke or whatever about these garments. But you do see the made in label, made in Pakistan.
I'm off eBay.
And next to where it says made in Pakistan, when you have clothes on, like all of us do, and there's the care tag.
Once a week.
On the care tag, there's like the triangle, like don't dry this and so forth. And
there's that symbol. There's
one more with that symbol at the bottom of it.
Is it the one that's the pin?
It's the same symbol. You've seen again and again.
We all are kind of somehow at the same moment noticing it. Kind of looking at it.
More of them.
Megan looks at each of your eyes and kind of quirks an eyebrow. Looks back down at it. Let's go. Nods at each of you and kind of sits down in a seat facing forward.
Benny is foot to the boards, power shifting the bus. Second gear, third gear, fourth gear, fifth gear, sixth gear, seventh, eighth, etc. As you peel out of precision drilling Nisku, the ground still shaking with this drilling rig. You get out of there. Maybe 3 minutes goes by, and the beating of hail and rain on the bus, it dissipates. Again, it's not a nice clear day, but it's just sort of pattering on the windows. There's a calm that goes over the group, and you drive the very short distance to the airport, where you see. It's going to be hilarious when people watch this video with all this fucking AI generated art that I have that you didn't encounter. Yeah, you see military transport, you see planes. It's not as nice as this picture would tell you. It's still stormy outside, but shitloads of planes are coming in. There are people in all kinds of military regalia within the airport as you arrive there. The local CFB forces have been dispatched to do like security, get people through the border. There's a border crossing at the Edmonton airport to the U.S. There's somebody ready to meet Agent Rutherford to escort him to his hangar after he goes through customs. All of you feel incredible anxiety of what you just got out of. Alex finally picks his laptop up, closes it, puts it in his bag as Benny disassembles his trusty SIG SCAR and puts it back into his Pelican case in order to cross the border here. And you feel, for the first time in a long time, just a sense of normalcy as you walk through. Babushka told you to just leave her bus at the airport. The forces will take care of it. They'll bring it back to her. You don't have to worry about that. Maybe you grab a snack when you get off the plane or the bus as you arrive to the airport, and all of you see something kind of normal after you're through customs and all this chaos and everything you saw as you rolled up. You see people waiting at the gate, people on their phones, people talking to family, people sitting in the restaurants and bars, having a bite. And the news is now flashing across the screens here. The airport itself being powered by backup generators that you saw firing up as you were driving close. The tanks that hold jet fuel bulging as if they were overpressurized. You just sort of see that out of the corner of your eye. You're not sure if that's normal or not. Not a lot of you have been that close to airport infrastructure. And you sit and wait for your planes after going through what happened at Nisku. Without a clear resolution, what does everyone do at your respective gates? There's one DC, take Megan home. There's, of course, Agent Rutherford. He owns a plane, so they're escorting him back to his hangar. Agent Benny is walking over to his appropriate gate. Agent Alex, the very short plane ride to Seattle, although it seemed like so far away. Agent Dupuis, just trying to get home, just trying to get back to Ottawa. There's an E390 sitting at the gate. You obviously didn't have to go through customs because you're still domestic, but you did have to have your weapons checked out. And last but not least, with Jackson Shaw, there's no directs at this point to Atlanta. But ATL being a big airport, you can go through O'Hare and you can get home.
Yeah, and he is just thinking, like, he's sort of torn. He's thinking to himself, I just gotta get home. I just gotta get home. And at the same time, he's thinking, who do I tell about this? Like, what in the world do I do? What even is anyone even believe me? Like, he's just like struggling with the idea of like putting this behind him if at all possible.
Yeah, roll sanity.
Yeah. This is just like it's all too overwhelming.
69.
Motherfucker.
Yeah, you are
the best possible
once again, your
damage.
training takes over, and you calm your thoughts. You're like, this was a very fucked up 36 hours that I just encountered, but there's clearly things outside of my control that are happening here. And with that 69, you take no sand damage, but you do see, and we're going to switch to another agent as you see this. You know when you get an email and there's like somebody's profile picture or whatever, as the email notification pops up, or Discord or whatever, it's just a green triangle. Very simple. And it says post 1916. It's Tuesday, Sunday, 2:00 p.m. And it's to your personal email address, not to your jacksonshaw@us.gov. It's
Says a
Jackson
location and a date.
at myspace.com or whatever.
Yeah, at Netlink or whatever it was.
And with that, I'll let you reflect on that for a second, and
Yeah.
I'm going to roll a d3, and we'll go to a different agent based on Discord video order, and we start with Agent Dupuis. Or continue with Agent Dupuis.
So the way I think of it is he still isn't ingratiated with Delta Green or anything like that. Like he's not even a friendly. Like this is his first time.
You've never even heard about
He,
Delta
like-
Green.
Yeah, no, like I mean, first off, they're an American agency. Secondly, he's.
For the purposes of this game, Delta Green is across the Five Eyes by structure.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Oh, gotcha. Well, in that case, I mean, still, he's not heard of it. Like, there's not been any sort of note of it from CSIS or anything like
Maybe
that.
like
So
a
he
4chan post that somebody sent you and was like, ha ha ha, look at this dumbass.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know,
like
shit like
it's
that.
just all a bunch of Jesse Venturas and shit like
Yep.
that. Like that's all he knows about it.
Just even sure. Secret at the degree nudge.
Yeah, exactly. But he's shaken to his core because like he was like the way whenever he was dispatched, it was like, hey, check on these American nationals, make sure they get home, like see what they're doing, and then it was get home safely. He wasn't expecting to deal with HIV balloons that turn people fucking crazy, or bulging tanks of petrochemicals, or Rob Kirkovich throwing fragmentation grenades down an oil well. Like all that, like this is shaking him to his core. Like I obviously I would like to roll a sanity check, but I think regardless of what happens, this dude's going to go through at least a pack of cigarettes, just chain smoking it to try and cope with the just horror that he's experienced. Like this isn't something that's should be happening. And
He's the only person in the little smoking booth in the airport, just pacing back and forth. He's got his phone in one hand, just a cigarette, chain smoking to the next one in the other, waiting the 3 hours till his flight home to Ottawa.
Yeah, he's using his lit cigarette to light his next cigarette. Like that's the pace at which he's going at. He's gonna message Cynthia and just say, I'm on my way home. I love you. But other than that, he's just probably just sitting down with his head like in his hands, just like swearing and just like trying to cope with all of that of which has happened. Like, I mean, he's dealt with like some terrorism and stuff like that, but nothing like this. Nothing that's like hearing voices that are inside your head tell it, like, that are of like Mother Nature or anything like that. Like, it's
absolutely.
He's fucked up now.
Absolutely. Roll that SAN as you're texting your wife.
Awesome. Let's pull that up. It's gonna be a 75 over 65.
All right, roll a 1d6.
Alrighty. Oh.
All right, 1. So you're going to take 1 sand damage unless you want to push that onto a bond.
I'm just gonna take the sanity damage. I think.
All right.
It makes more
sense
that way.
Yep. as he's chain smoking and just knowing it's bad for him, but that's what he needs to do in this situation. Amazing. All right, 1d2 for Agent Parks and Agent Rutherford. Agent Parks, what do you do at the airport? You also have a 3-hour window till your flight.
Fidgeting, kind of looking at the others, not really knowing how they are gonna part, feeling about how this ended. She just looks at each of them and she says, I trust you. I think we did the right thing. And then she kind of looks back down at her phone as it dings. She has a text message from her nephew, and it says, what do you call a magical dog? She thinks about it for a second, and kind of reluctant smile crooks up at the corner of her mouth. And she texts back, I have no idea. Tell me. And then it says, a labracadabrador! Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. And she looks at the others and just kind of tosses her head back and laughs. She's like, texts back and she says, knock, knock. What does he respond?
Who's there, Auntie?
Boo.
Boo-hoo.
And she looks at the response, and then she looks at the others, and she kind of responds, I will never let anything happen to you.
And you see the dots of text appear and go away and reappear a few times. And a selfie comes through, and it's just your nephew. Just point here for my birthday, Auntie. I love you, and you can see like there's tears forming in his eyes from that selfie.
And she texts back, with a picture of herself with like 2 thumbs up.
So
She's like,
you'll always be my hero.
You're my guy.
You'll always be my hero.
I'll be there.
Auntie Megan.
And she kind of texts back with that, you're my guy. I'll be there. Text, and a tear kind of rolls down her cheek. She brushes it away.
Amazing.
She sees the airport roll up, and she reaches down and grabs her duffel. Stands up and grabs a handlebar on the car somewhere as they're rolling up.
And you can hear the gate agent's 9:35 departure, Washington Dulles. First call, first responders, military, people with disabilities, people with children, and so forth. Status 1K. And the plane begins to board as Agent Rutherford is on a golf cart, basically, as you've gone through security, probably had some interactions with the other agents as this was going on, and roll towards the hangar, not your hangar, unless you're that rich, but the hangar where your plane has been sitting.
Yeah, and I think as soon as I get there and before I start doing the pre-flight checks, I think I make 2 phone calls, or attempt to make 2 phone calls.
Okay.
The first is, of course, home. And I let Rachel know. Ideally, she picks up and, hey, I'm okay, but there's been an incident. I don't know what the weather's like down there still, but for the next until I get there, I need you to hole up, like I asked you last night, and make sure you stay away from anyone acting erratically. I don't know if the the neighbors are still there. I don't know if you're still having the party, or not if they've gone home at that point. But anyone acting erratically, just in general, just stay away from people for a bit until I get there. I'll explain when I get there. Love you, honey. And then, the second call is to my office. I'll dial up Abby, longtime coworker, and I'll ask if there's been any chatter about an incident near Edmonton, or I guess really Alberta, but there've been. Well, I guess no, it was close to Edmonton, right? When the thing, so
Yeah.
because there's been any chatter about an incident up there. It's like, make sure you give it to Office of Emergency Management, and we got to get on this. something's been released, chemical, biological agent of some sort to the atmosphere. Like, I don't get with SEPA, like, you guys got to get on this. And he's not really like on the emergency response side of things. He's more investigative, after the fact kind of stuff, or enforcement, kind of stuff. But still, he's very concerned about, like, you got to make sure some sort of response to this.
And okay. I forgot to ask Megan to roll SAN. And then we'll get back to Agent Rutherford in a second here.
All right, that's a
74 over 63. Roll a d6. There's a little dice at the bottom of the chat card. You can just click on.
I think I got it.
All right, 5 sand damage coming
That's
Megan's
great.
and or one of her Bond's ways.
One of the Bond's ways. Okay.
So you'll
I'm
roll
gonna
a
say-
d4 against your Bond, and the rest will go on to Megan's sanity.
1d what?
1d4 against your Bond. So whatever you roll, you can push, which is 4, and then Megan will take the remaining 1 sand.
Right. I'm gonna say that I take that off the niece.
All right.
And as she
Candy.
is looking toward these planes, she's thinking about her exit from the situation, and all the people and all the families that may suffer badly during this whole storm, or whatever is about to happen at this plant. She just feels this impending sense of doom. She thinks about her sister, and then she thinks about her nephew Noah, and then she thinks about her niece Candy, who's 5 years old, 7 years old, younger than Noah. She's saying a prayer for each of them. Please don't let my sister be harmed. Please don't let my nephew. Please don't let him come to harm. And then she comes to her niece and she feels this tug of love. But she says, but if someone needs to come to harm, let it be her. And not him. And so that damage comes off her Bond with him.
Oh, man. Oh, damn. God, this game is so emotional. Amazing. James, thank you for that, Agent Parks. That was amazing. James, your first phone call home, you can hear your wife kind of talking in the background, Rachel talking in the background, and you can also hear like the news, like talking heads analyzing, in the 24-hour news cycle in your basement. Of course, you have TVs and you have communications and backup gen. And it's kind of choppy as she's talking to you, but you can hear this in the background. And she's like, I think I know where you are. It's bad up there. It's bad up there. James, are you staying? Is this going to be like that incident in Dawson Creek? Dawson's Creek is a television show. Dawson Creek is an actual town.
No, I'm on my way home. I'm on my way home.
All right.
We'll
stay down here till you get here.
I have no jurisdiction up here. I'm on my way home.
You do hear in the background, like vibrations, like, and she's like, the neighbors they're still partying upstairs. They'll be fine in the shop. I'm not worried about them.
All right.
We're safe. We're doing what we know we should do.
I'll be home in like 6 hours.
All right. Well, see you in 6 hours.
God,
you need a new plane. And,
I mean, it's a little Cessna, right, or whatever. Like
you have like a 172, and she kind of promised you a Beechcraft because apparently comes from a wealthy family. Roll Sam, and then we'll do the second part where you call your handler. 29 under 66. You take 1 point of sand damage.
All right. Still looking good there.
All right. And you finish the phone call with your wife. Rachel seems shaken but not afraid. Like she's following, she's a serious woman, as James' wife you would expect, and she's following protocols that you've built together, following the ERP plan that you built together. And you call your handler and sort of give them the download. Oh my god, this game is so personal. Jesus. You call your handler, your boss, sorry, at the EPA, and he's like, yeah, we've got the reports. I'm sending you some PDFs right now. And as he's talking to you, you're maybe not on speakerphone, but whatever. You switch back from, because somebody's driving you. You probably don't have this on speakerphone. But maybe you're looking back at your phone and you're like seeing these PDFs come through. And nothing is redacted. And it's basically intelligence reports, which is not something that James usually gets. Like in EPA criminal investigation, you are... what level would you be? You'd probably be top secret as needed. So it's very rare that you would get material like this that is unredacted. And it's basically field reports from other military agents, probably some of them that you saw at Cold Lake, about cult activity, about bioterrorism, about eco-terrorists disrupting supply chains and critical infrastructure points. And as you're scrolling through all of this, there's pictures, there's like grainy kind of like surveillance photos and cell phone pictures, stuff like that. And you do see there's an image from a ATM camera, but it's clear enough because you were right fucking there, of somebody trying to stab a needle at one of the agents. And as you're going through this parlay, this back and forth, it's like you're in the shit now, friend. The EPA needs you more now than ever. I hate to send you this over text. And another document comes through, another PDF. It's like 138 pages long. You load it up into your GPT instance on your phone to summarize it. It spits out the relevant details, because I am not role-playing a 138-page document. And it's basically, if you want your pension, you'll stay with us for the next 5 years.
Damn.
And at the very bottom,
America.
At the very bottom, as there's signatures from like a lot of officials, like some of them like the EPA chief and like shit like that. And there's some other officials that you don't know their names. They don't reference a department at all in their signatures. And there's a very, very small green triangle at the very bottom against the last signature.
What is that?
And the last text
yeah.
comes through. We'll meet in Boise and discuss. Get home safe, Agent. 10-4.
Oh man, Rachel's gonna hate this. I have to have a long talk when I get home.
And you arrive to your aircraft, fired up. There's maintenance folks in the hangar that have made sure it's safe, checked it for damage, all that stuff, signed off on the book, blah blah blah, refueled it for you.
Awesome.
They're like stick west. You'll stay. The worst of the storms are over. Things are looking a lot better around here. But stick west, hug the mountains, and they hand you your flight plan, printed out. That's already been reported to the various authorities. And one of them hands you your Pelican case full of weapons because of the whole customs Johnski, and gives it back to you. As you board we're just going to say for canon, I probably have this recorded and I've forgotten, you have a 172. So it does have barely has the range to get you home. But obviously you fly low in a plane like that. It's noisy. It's a hobby plane. It costs $30,000 to buy one.
Yeah, exactly. But it gets the job done.
Gets you to Edmonton, but more importantly, gets you home. And I need everyone to roll me alertness. As you board your various planes, some you own them, some are commercial, others are leading you to a stopover in Chicago. Great rolls. Success. Everyone but Megan succeeds, and you see the sort of image of the mountaintops. You can see just out of the corner of your eye Edmonton. You're all in window seats for this purpose. You see smoke coming from Nisku, where the precision drilling rig site was at. All of the television screens are basically like alerts, like evacuate, find high ground, shelter in place in case of tornado. Like there's still these things flashing on the bottom of the screen as you're all watching the news about like what is the perspective from the media on what we just experienced. And everyone sort of settles in, closes their eyes, gets a snack, do whatever you do on your plane. I mean, if you are flying the plane, you don't get a snack. There's no stewardesses or the flight attendants, sorry.
Yeah.
And you all calm down except for Megan. And Megan sees just out of the corner of her eye as her plane takes off towards Dulles, the roar of the jet engines that surge as you take off from a runway, and the plane goes weightless for a second. And you swear to God, you see one of those fuel tanks at the airport bubbling, a mass coming out of it, almost like the same pseudopods that Benny encountered in the refinery itself, but enormous, the size that could snatch up an airplane. And for a second, for Agent Parks, reality shifts as she looks down towards the ground as the plane banks around, and you're watching this, and you see that fleshy, viscous, bubbling fluid sort of crash out against the airplane. The whole plane shakes. Oxygen masks come down. Pilot gets on. Sorry, passengers. just dealing with a bit of ground turbulence. No reason to be concerned. Place those oxygen masks back in the containers that they fell down from, but we're in for a rough ride. And as Megan sort of observes that, and all of you go to your various home bases, Atlanta, Ottawa, your own house in Montana, Benny and Alex dispatched to their various areas, and Agent Parks going to Dulles.
She has been kind of in a stupor for much of this. It's been so strange, but when she's on her plane, she focuses on her signals and any messages that are incoming, and she looks down at her phone and then looks back up. And then she looks at an email she's been composing this whole time, and it includes the names of various agents involved in this mission. And she looks up at the subject title, and it says Agent Impressions and Opinions. And then she clicks send on this document, and it goes out to her supervisor at the CIA.
Damn.
All right. We're going to go a little long, probably till 10 as you do that, if everyone's cool with that.
Yeah.
You hit send. Our camera pans down to just like your phone screen as you're tapping away. Hit send. And the camera pulls back, if you remember, way back from when we started this Now campaign. And there was a woman who was sitting with a file folder. All of your pictures were in it. All of your dossiers, all of your experiences were captured there. Agent Benny had his own folder, separate from the rest of you. And they were talking to another sort of faceless person in the room about their confidence in your abilities here. And in the very sort of bottom right corner of that manila file folder, there's the tiniest little symbol that looks like a green triangle. And they open it. It falls towards Agent Park's dossier. Picture of her, niece and nephew, her history with the CIA, accomplishments, challenges, things she's been coached on, things she's improved on, etc. And this sort of curl of cigarette smoke comes out of the corner. How did they do? And she's leafing through it. A laptop computer opens in front of her. She starts furiously typing away. And you see Agent Park's email on her screen. She is using light mode like some kind of psychopath. And it was definitely not sent to this person, but it was intercepted, the communication. And as all of you land at your respective home bases, airports, layovers, etc., some of you already have gotten messages. The rest of you who hadn't also received messages just as cryptic. Post 208, 10:30 p.m., Saturday night. Lodge 206, Sunday, 9 a.m., breakfast. Legion, 7:07, Sunday, wings, football. as this is all flashing on your screens as you get back. And from a scenario perspective, this is where we're going to sort of close our camera. But if you'll indulge me, I would like to spend a little bit of time getting some feedback from y'all for this homebrew, home dream, fever dream that we turned into a Delta Green game and campaign. I think I put it in the chat, like if there's leads you wanted to follow up on, if there's things that you're like, hey, my agent's really curious about this. We're not going to resolve that stuff tonight, but I would like to hear everyone's feedback. Also, I would like to hear your feedback as players. Constructive, like my ego is really not sensitive, so don't be shy about what you want to see more of, less of, hey, we kind of skipped over this, like why didn't we do that, like anything like that. I would really be happy to hear from you. If you're not comfortable doing that, that's super cool. Just shoot me a DM.
I think we all did our backgrounds really shallowly, and then as we did the game, it kind of developed. So if we did an ongoing campaign, I'd like to see that. Those flashbacks kind of, become more depth for the characters.
Yeah.
And because I think we've got a good start on that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've enjoyed this. I'm not the world's best role player. I try.
You're pretty good.
But-
you did a good job.
Yeah, you guys all did. You guys as players, like from a GM standpoint, I just interrupted you. I'm sorry, but you guys have been probably the best players I've ever run for in this little short vignette that we've done. Honestly, your commitment, your focus, your understanding of your own characters. Again, as Slip mentioned, like it's gotten exposed through dice rolls and through roleplay and stuff like that. Yeah. Don't sell yourself short. It's been very good.
Yeah, and that was the first thing I was going to say, was I really appreciated your style, Elias. You were very, you're, cooperative is a good way of, there are a lot of different types of GM styles, but, you did a really good job of, giving us prompts and letting us develop, what the scenes that we wanted to and the interactions we wanted to. I really enjoyed the back and forth that we all had, particularly not just with each other, but also with you. So I really commend your skill as well.
Yeah, those set out times for everybody to say what you've been doing. It kind of gives permission to role players who might not even be comfortable taking the stage to be creative and come up with what they've been doing at the time, because it's the posted time for that, so they don't feel like they're taking up unnecessary screen time by pursuing their background.
And I like the recaps of from each agent's perspective at the beginning of each session. That was really helpful. Not just
awesome.
Mostly for me to remember what I remembered and then ask any questions that I still have or may have forgotten from the last session, but also giving the opportunity for things that may not have come up in the session to flesh out how our characters develop. I really enjoyed that idea. That was a really good tactic.
I'm glad to hear that. I really like one thing happens and every agent has given their flavor of how they perceive the thing that happened, which makes for a way better story.
I think so, certainly.
Yeah. I mean, as somebody who joined in a session or two late, I thought of the inclusion was. It made me feel like I didn't join in a session or two late, if that makes sense, Elias. I really am appreciative of the kind of segueing that you did to bring my character into this campaign. So I had a lot of fun with that. I don't know if we were to move forward with this, if I would continue with this character.
Which is totally fine. You can say I think I put it in the chat, but if you're my agent's arc is done and this agent shows up next time, I don't give a shit. That sounds dope. And also your snarky French Canadian was so on brand.
Yeah. Guns. Americans.
Why did you kill all these people? You idiots. No. We just got him. No, I appreciate that, Mason. And yeah, like I said, you have freedom for how you want to. If you do want to replace your agent, if you want to roll dice about it, we can do that. If you don't, that's fine too. Just tell a story about how your previous agent settles back into normal life.
Yeah, sounds good. That's definitely something I'm going to probably work on between now and our next session. Just yeah, no, I mean, I had a lot of fun. This was been the second time I've played. I mean, I guess third time I've played since Nashville.
That was also my
Overall,
first Delta Green game.
And I love the system, and I love the group that we're playing with. You know, it's a real solid group of people. So I'm really happy to be playing this. So
awesome.
Thank you for extending the invite out to other people on the server.
I think that, like,
Very appreciative.
especially with like what I envision here of being like a weekly game and more West Marchy style, because schedules and water treatment plant failures and fucking cybersecurity attacks and business trips and everything everyone has to deal with.
Good night. Yeah.
That we don't derail a campaign by virtue of that, of the personal aspect of it, but we can at least keep the narrative going. And
Right.
and I like Kyle reached out to me and he was like, "Hey, I'm cool if one of the agents wants to play Alex in a Pathfinder game. Absolutely, I don't care if PCs take another PC and they're like, all right, the monk's gonna hit and the fighter's gonna do this and the cleric's gonna heal and blah 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 blah." But this is so fucking personal.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to modify.
And I would feel really bad if Nerd Boy died
Right,
Yeah.
especially, yeah.
when he wasn't even here to act him.
Right?
Yeah.
And be like, so Kyle, do you have another character concept? Sorry about your luck, pal. You took a grenade to the face. Are there actually Psychogas? Anything else?
No, I no, I like. I'm just echoing the things others have said. I like your style. Yeah, I'll just leave it with that.
Okay.
I think as we get to know each other better and reach,
Yeah.
comfort levels are going to start out at a certain level just because we're getting to know each other still. But as they don't, I think it opens up pathways toward, uncomfortable encounters. Like it's not just someone who wants to take over the world. It's something that feels more personal and I think it'd be interesting to explore.
And I was thinking sort of about it. I think the questions I had most were what felt like to me part of the fact that this is very much an introductory kind of scenario. Like to me, my biggest questions were about, like, when we got to the hockey rink, suddenly there was this contagion, and like, to me that hit me by surprise. I was like, we're dealing with weather patterns and terrorists, and now there's a plague, that thing in the tank, and that could have just been something we hallucinated or just like wasn't really there. So I guess like that would be the only questions in terms of story like that I had, was like, where did all this go, especially with Kirkovich, like, blowing himself up, like.
I'd love to
a lot
explore
of that
all this.
Open-ended, so I was that. But again, I feel like that's sort of like there's a lot more going on behind that may be explored later. So I don't know. Like, I think that's just, you tell me if I'm wrong, but that feels like it's part of it being introductory in a way.
Yeah, I
like the Pakistan as well.
I'm glad y'all said that, because I think that I've never run a game like this. So when you're heroes, there's a lot different sort of general outcomes, which can be negative, they can be positive, but they're a little more linear versus the human aspect of this, where you pay attention to different things and things are eating away at you a little bit, and what do you do with that information? I also tried to, and again, constructive criticism is completely fine, craft a narrative that was tense without a big bad. Not just like, all right, it's the last fucking episode of this scenario, like, let's kill the thing.
Yeah, and I kind of feel like that's inherent to like that's a good way of not interpreting. It's a good way of portraying the Delta Green style. Like I think back to Get in the Trunk, which is the only other long-term game I've played. Like
You
it's
were on Get
not
in the
as
Trunk?
satisfying.
Were you a
No,
guest
no,
guest
sorry,
star?
sorry. Listen to.
He was in the
Um,
trunk.
I was
where
like,
I was
damn,
in
I
the
missed
trunk,
those episodes.
Um, but like, it's not like a okay, here's the bad guy, go and defeat them.
Hmm.
It's like
Yeah, go save the
it's this
world.
expanding narrative that like you never really know what's going on, and
Any one person's point of view can just take it in another direction.
Yep.
yeah, so I did enjoy that. Like it's strange at first to get used to that, but it like I think it adds to that mentality of like what the fuck is going on here.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. I appreciate that because I really
I've really enjoyed it the whole way through. Thank you,
glad. I'm
Yeah,
glad.
absolutely.
everybody.
I spent a lot of time
You as
trying
well.
to figure out how to tell a story that way versus, again, heroes in the dungeon kill the thing, which is
Yeah.
fun, but it's very, very different.
Different. I was gonna say with that I should probably get rolling. I gotta get ready to
Oh yeah,
wrap
it's that
things up
time.
for the night. But thank you all so much. I said last week, but I'm gonna take a little bit of a break. But because of my on-call schedule, I'll be on call for Thursdays and depending on the week, Tuesdays. Like it'll change a
We'll
lot.
fit you in whenever we can.
But
Absolutely.
when I have the opportunity, I'll let y'all know and guest spot where I can.
Yeah, that's perfect. And like I said, if you're like, hey, I'm on call for the next 4 games, maybe Jackson Shaw is still at home, and you want to be
Yeah.
like, hey, fucking Shaw Jackson shows up, doing something
Right.
Your
else.
illegitimate
Yeah, well, I was gonna say,
show.
at least for the next like month or so,
Yeah.
as I'm getting onboarded, I'll be MIA for a little bit.
But if you want to play around with different
um,
builds or just
yeah,
again
yeah.
drop in, drop
we
out,
we can't
that's
go
the whole
without
thing.
I gotta do some kind of
those
action.
Dr. Billy pecs.
Oh, thank you. But yes, thank you all very much. It's been a pleasure, and I will see you around.
Okay.
It's been fun.
Well, I'm gonna end
Yeah.
the recording
Thank
here
you all.
then. Thank you guys. It's been wonderful.
Good night, everyone. I'll throw a couple
All right,
prompts in the
thank you.
chat for
Good night.
the next
Yep.
one, and we'll see where it goes.
To be continued.
Also,